City Council meeting for May 11th. Roll call, please.
Mayor Jones,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bixson,
Here.
Council Members Closser,
Here.
Hauser,
Here.
King,
Present.
Salvia,
Here.
and Trent.
Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Oh dear. Oh, my son's calling. I'm going to throw this away. So I want to first off just make a announcement that our city clerk is officially here for the first time tonight. Brian D'Annunzio. Okay, public comment on non-scheduled and then we'll do presentations. So any public comment? No, we start with presentations.
Yes.
We start with presentations, sorry. Van Heusen Museum, Pat McKay, please come up. Boy, I'm fumbling around here. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I know a brief presentation is very difficult when you work in a history museum, so, but thank you for letting me come. I'm here with Kathy Fitzpatrick, who coordinates our, all of our educational public programs here. So what I wanted to do tonight is, and just to remind everyone, is that we do have a financial arrangement between the city of Rochester and Rochester Hills over the Rochester Hills Museum. For $40,000 a year. It's been a 3-year partnership that's going to expire in October of this year, so we can re-explore this at some point later in the fall. But I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on what's going on. And in front of you, I do have a copy of both this presentation I'm doing tonight and our most recent annual report. I'm required to do an annual report for a couple different organizations. Michigan State University still requires us, because of 2 buildings that we own, the Van Heusen Farmhouse and the Red House are still officially gifts from Michigan State University, and we are obligated and legally responsible to still give them updates on what's going on with that property. They don't provide any money with that, but all the upgrades and improvements we take care of, and have been doing that since 1979. Okay. And then we also, out of courtesy, we submit a copy of our annual report to the Rochester Community Schools. We worked out an agreement where they donated the Stony Creek Schoolhouse to us about 15 years ago, in kind of out of a courtesy to let them know how we're taking care of that facility. So these are our facilities. We have roughly 9 buildings and 16 acres. Most of the property is located in the city of Rochester. And my next slide will show a little bit what that looks like. But you can kind of see the different kinds of buildings. And by far, this is our biggest responsibility at the museum, is just taking care of our buildings. Our site is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, which I want people to know that what happened on our site and in the Van Heusen Farm and in that little village of Stony Creek didn't happen anywhere else in the United States. This is a one-of-a-kind story, and we should be very, very proud of it. We're fortunate in our community. Not only do we have our museum, but we have Meadowbrook Hall, which are 2 remarkable historical facilities. On the site map, you kind of see the boundary. Runyon Road is roughly the boundary, the city boundaries between Rochester Hills and Rochester. So I always say our houses, the little red house, the Van Heusen Farmhouse, and the schoolhouse are all located in the city of Rochester Hills. Our barn property and most of our open space is located in the city of Rochester. So, and it's a park, and I always say I hope that most people look at it and see it as a remarkable historic site. I think most of our residents see it as a great place for a dog walk. And, yes. And I think they enjoy it, and for that reason. So we do get $40,000 a year. This is an agreement that started in November of 2023 that will run through October of 2026. And I don't really want to just read off every single one of them. You have them in front of you, but I want you to see how hard we try to make sure that our site is available. And one of the things I'd love to take out of here is the feedback from you or from your audience. Is how are we doing? Are we meeting the needs for your community? Are we meeting the needs what we think our residents want? Are we providing the information we think they desire? Are we helping businesses attract more customers? And I'll show a couple of examples out there where we're working with some private businesses. So when this project started, the first bullet point was to digitize your historic records that the city of Rochester had been collecting for many, many years. And we have done that, and we have digitized those, and they are fully accessible now. And we try to put everything online. That's going to come up too. But you can just see all the different kinds of events that we try and do. I said one of them I'll just rattle off real quick is the second Saturdays of the month from the farmers market, we offer a free walking tour through downtown Rochester. And And last week, I think 40 people showed up. It's no registration necessary, just show up and enjoy our town while you're here, and, not only get a donut, not only a cronut, but also, visit, and see why our town's a little more magical, and to have 40 people just show up, we thought that was phenomenal. But we also do bike tours, and that's a partnership, and I think in everything I say, I'll say in a partnership. One of them is with the Rochester Public Library, where we do bike tours. Bike tours allow us to take a bigger chunk of the city. We can go further. There's more stories to tell, and there's only so many we can do when we're walking. But we do a lot of signage. There's a lot to say in our town. We have signs on the posts on Main Street. We also have some connecting the Paint Creek Trail and the Clinton River Trail on Riverwalk. We have some that identify the Clinton-Kalamazoo Canal, which is kind of a one-of-a-kind story. So there's really some neat things to talk about throughout our town. We don't want to oversign it, but we don't think we're there yet. We do have 3 larger projects right now. The Greenery is one that we're working with the Moseri development. We have had a chance to go in there, always on the coldest days in January possible. And so we've been able to see some of the progress that they're making on the building. And what we're looking at is trying to create some exhibit space on the walls there. The selfish needs, and when we first approached them, the reason why we were so interested in that property is that we do lots of walking tours of downtown Rochester. Kathy is responsible for coordinating thousands of second graders. So and we're in that season right now where we walk through downtown. 2 school buses a day are dropping off kids and parents, and we're doing walking tours of downtown, teaching economics, and think about that, teaching economics second graders. We do that through downtown Rochester, but what we were looking for was also a point of refuge when we get a storm that blows in real quick, or just a bathroom emergency. It's really nice to have just a couple places of refuge where we can, go inside, and we're going to be able to do that, not only with the Granary, but this other little thing you've probably heard about, the Graham, and so we're going to work with the DDA at some point. We have a very small part in that. Christy Trevorrow's in charge, and she'll take care of that. I'm not worried about it. But we said if there's some archival images or something or equipment or something that we can put on display, we hope it looks more like a museum than a Bennigan's, but we're going to work on that and try to make it look nice. And then to the right, Kathy's been working with Oak Street Design. They're moving into 114 West 3rd soon. I was looking for an archival image, but it's the old, it's the building where the original newspapers were printed in Rochester, the Era building. And we sent it out for printing today, for actually fabrication, and we'll mount it on the side of the building. I think they're trying to do a grand opening in the month of May. So I don't know, that's coming up soon, imminently. Awesome. And we're going to interpret that. And we do lots of walking tours downtown, so this would be perfect. And they've done a pretty nice renovation on that building. From a historic preservation standpoint, we're very proud. And we approached them saying, hey, your building is really, you're right on what you're doing. Can we help tell the story about what this building was all about? And that's where the Rochester Era newspaper was printed for almost 100 years, and we have those newspapers. They're all digitized, they're online right now, they're PDF searchable documents, so it's really a great project. So, and this is our archives. We're really proud of everything that we have. A lot of the newspapers, we get lots of requests for residential records. People like those plaques on the front doors in Rochester, and we love digging through, trying to find out more about them. There's some Michigan history, the Historical Society of Michigan just printed in the Chronicle, which is one of their monthly newspaper articles, was about the World War II monument right next to us here. So and there's thousands of stories on that monument, and our newspapers really help reveal those stories. That's where a lot of those records are located. And at the end of the day, everything we have, our goal is to share it. We hoard nothing. Everything is shared out there. We do store a lot of stuff at the museum, a lot of archival and three-dimensional objects, but we are way since bursting at the seams there. We do store off-site storage at our city's DPS garage on Auburn Road, so we do have it nearby, and the bigger objects are just located there. And these are a couple projects that we're working on right now, and we've talked about these a couple times. Gail Kemmler, was a long-time resident, lived in their hundreds here in the Rochester area. We do have a whole collection of her papers that their family donated to us. We also have the Mary Miller collection. Mary was the one who started and was a longtime director at the OPC. We felt that information and what she created in our town, having the OPC here, is really remarkable. So we are still working on those two collections. We have lots of diaries. People in the old day actually kept diaries. It's a kind of an interesting thing because it's not happening like it used to. But some of them go back to the 1850s about people living in Stony Creek Village and in Rochester. And We have access to those. There's a lot of historic houses. We say anybody who lives in a home in Rochester, feel free to give us your address, and we'll be happy to look and see what we can find. There's also a lot of this information's online. You can do it yourself too and go down all the rabbit holes that are necessary to find it. And then we do try to assist local businesses so they can brag about themselves and their history in the community, and then also assist them when they want to do a customer event and they can't, they can't welcome 50 customers at a time. I got a calf barn that would love to help them out and make sure that they're successful. And then I kind of wrap this up saying, what are our long-term plans at the museum? And over the years, we have identified our buildings. When we first established as a museum in 1979, our buildings were restricted just to the Van Hoosen farmhouse. And so all of our emphasis was on that building to get it up to code and up to speed. Over the course of time, we've acquired the Van Hoosen property. Each of the buildings was in a great distressed situation. And then we took on the Stony Creek Schoolhouse. And each of those buildings now are in really good shape. We don't have any building crises right now, which is, hopefully I'm not taunting myself right now. But long term, there is one building, if you look at these pictures, this is the big barn. This barn, as you can see in the pictures, kind of dominates the farm, but in 1968 it burned to the ground in a fire on Palm Sunday, 1968. And it was the barn that really dominated the whole farm. It was built with gold money from the California Gold Rush by the family, and it was always part of the scientific side of this farm as Sarah Van Hoosen Jones switched her farming from a chicken farm to a dairy farm and became internationally known as a dairy operation. We've always said, gosh, wouldn't it be nice if we could put this together? When she built it, a big name in Rochester's history is Lysander Woodward. We have a Lysander Street and a Woodward Street named after him. And his kids and his daughter started the library, and his son was head of the National Science Foundation and worked with Albert Einstein in Washington, D.C. So it's an amazing family. But Joshua Van Hoosen, when he came back from California, built his barn 101 feet long, so he beat Lysander Woodward's barn by 1 foot. So you can just kind of see the personalities that were here in town. Our long-term plan always was, how do we recreate this agrarian scene? And we worked all last year with a architectural firm to say, how would we do it? Now, where can we put it on the exact site? We met with Mr. Banda here saying, here we are again. You can see our equipment barn is off to the right in the schematic on the top left corner. So you can kind of see the size of this. Is a massive size building. When we did the equipment barn, we had the challenges that you have when you're building something in the 2000s. It was in the road right away, and it was too tall for the zoning ordinance. So those were two, quick obstacles that we had to go in and talk about. We were able to get the variances to do that. We would run into the same situation there. But long term, we would like to rebuild this barn. So as we just look to the future, and it's hard to see the numbers here. I think if we built it in 2026, which is right now, it'd be about almost a $6 million project. And every year that we wait, we add about 7% onto that. So, but it would give us a chance to have like a welcome center and some additional conference meeting room space. We host about 170 different meetings a year. A lot of them are for free. I mean, because our goal is to support, there's a lot of nonprofits in our town, and we want them to be, we want Dinosaur Hill to be successful, and the Assistance League, and the 5 chapters of the Questers, and the Paint Creek Garden Club, and the Rochester Garden Club, and these darn pollinator groups that people, I was just gonna throw that out there, Marilyn.
Yeah, thank you.
We want all those groups to be successful, and if we can provide our space to do that, then we feel that's where our role is. We kind of supplement what the community house and what the library can do. So we are looking at this to create the space available to do that, and we have lots more stories that we'd like to tell that we can't quite. By moving all of our offices out of the dairy barn into that space, it creates more exhibit space in the dairy barn. So it lets us do a whole bunch of things. It lets us host the private events that we've really been relying on, that it really drives a lot of attendance to us, and it lets us tell more of our stories in the dairy barn. So this is kind of hanging out there. I'm not bringing it forward. We are in what I would call the quiet phase of fundraising, which could last, it could last 1 year, it can last 25 years. At some point, we will, when we're getting closer, then we'll start going through the motions of trying to rebuild this building and bringing it to our site. The good news is in our area, we do have all the utilities are right there, water and sewer and gas, everything's nearby. It would be a heavy timber constructed building. All of our buildings are sprinkled, and right now we're very fortunate. All of our buildings have lightning rods. If you've been on our site lately, we had a major lightning strike and lost 3 major trees next to our gazebo, but nothing hit the gazebo, but it blew shrapnel in about 100 yards in all directions. So we just spent last week, the final removal of a massive walnut tree. So we are doing everything we can to protect these buildings and ultimately to share them with everyone that comes to the museum. So at some point, I would like to come back. It'll be in the fall. We'll give you another sales pitch from the museum to let you know what's going on. You do have our annual report. You can kind of see what's in there. We're trying to be good stewards, not only of our site, but our finances too. And since 1991, and I see Joe Allen's here, we started, at the end of the day, trying to do the magic of historic preservation, you have to have money. At some point, it always comes down to that. And we started a early endowment fund with the Community Foundation of Greater Rochester, who's probably the greatest partner you can possibly have in this community. And every project you see and any picture you see, somehow it runs through the Community Foundation of Greater Rochester. And we've never done an endowment fund campaign or anything, but we exceeded $1 million at the end of the year through our annual end of the year fundraisers. And so, we are trying to create that, and the larger that can get, it's the less dependence that we have to have on city taxpaying dollars. I think our communities are both doing very well, but we know 25 years from now, things could be different, and we're trying very hard to make sure that we are financially sustainable, as well as, having all of our archives available too. So those numbers are all in our annual report, and if anybody wants a copy, there's no secret about it. We're happy to share that with anyone out there, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions. Mrs. Sylvia, I know that you mentioned a little partnership that we might want to consider. That's right after me about the cemetery, and my answer was yes. And what was your question? So we're happy if I saw the pictures on that project. Sounds great. You were wondering if there's any stories about Mount Avon. Oh my gosh.
I figured you might have a few. You might have a few.
There's just thousands of them, and we're doing a walking tour next Wednesday it's a military themed, where we're just doing soldiers buried there because of Memorial Day coming up, and with America 250, it's a great opportunity to do that. But I'll just throw out one crazy story that we can talk about. But there's a woman buried in Mount Avon Cemetery. Her name is Balsam Falconer. And it's one of the most unusual names, and she was the head nurse at the Battle of Dunkirk as they were evacuating. She was an English nurse who helped with the evacuation of Dunkirk during World War II, and ended up living on John R. in Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Oh, wow.
So figure that story out. And she has a little tiny stone that's flush to the ground, and we have to go out there periodically and cut the grass back because it keeps getting overgrown. That's a stone that should not be overgrown. She's a remarkable hero, and when we talk so many times, we talk about the men buried there. There are some remarkable women that have been soldiers and have served our country too. So we want these stories. That's just one of 1,000 other stories that we can tell. And this World War II monument, the Rochester Avon Historical Society has done a great job, and those stories are all on their website. So we have lots of good stories to tell. Mount Avon Cemetery is probably one of the most remarkable cemeteries I've ever had a chance to work in and walk through, and every time I'm in there, I got 10 baby fawns following me around, so it's really hard to get anything done in there. But I'd be happy to answer any questions. Kathy is here too.
Anybody?
We'd be happy to share anything, or
Councilmember
go ahead, Sarah.
Not really a comment or question, just comment. My second grader was on the field trip last week. They had a fantastic time. It was a really good experience. They came home with a passport book, and they loved it. She was talking about it quite a bit, so
Good,
thank you for that.
The passport book is new. We just did that this year, and the idea is to get children, of course, and their parents, and they explore different areas, not only downtown, but they'll go to the Beb Oak Tree out on Livernois and Auburn Road. They'll go to Bloomer Park, and in different areas, and they get a stamp in it, and then there'll be a drawing at the end. And this is the first year we did it, but we can do it every single year going forward. There are so many stops, and just to get people to explore their own town. So thank you for the good words.
And then I just want to say what a gem both of you are to the community. We are really blessed to have you and what you do. And Raya does their events there, and you take such good care of us. And really, that piece is something everybody should really think about, your event space. And the job that you do there with that is wonderful.
Yeah. And it's great, the Raya groups. Normally, we don't know how, it's hard, high schoolers are tough. How do you get, I get the elementary school students. Those are the easy ones. But we do a program right now with Alpha Rho, which is an honor society for social studies at Stony Creek High School, and they staff our schoolhouse on some Saturdays. And so we partnered with them they get the credit on this kind of unique partnership, and they're my tour guides over at the schoolhouse.
Nice.
So that's kind of a neat thing. And then doing the Raya, hosting those programs, it's just it's a great chance for us to share and make sure that we're, as a community, supporting high school students. And
100%.
and then we do a couple other ones. Well, I can't remember all the other acronyms. There's a Raya, and there's we do some summer programs. And it's it's anybody. We want high school students who might be in any kind of distressing life situation to realize that there are resources in our town. And then you look at a situation like that, whether it's suicide or drug prevention, you're like, so how does a local history museum fit into that conversation? Well, we have space, and sometimes the space is the issue. And if you're looking for role models, especially in history, who have gone through hardships like you can't even imagine, sometimes those stories can be really inspirational. And
Absolutely.
we have, when I love telling the story about the library, and I would hope everyone here loves the Rochester Public Library. But at the end of the day, if you research the history of the library, it was started by 4 teenagers in the 1880s who identified a need in our community that the rest of us, the adults at that point, did not. And it was teenagers who stepped forward. And I'm like, gosh, how often do we lean on teenagers to say, lead us, tell us what we're missing? And it was two male, 2 female who stepped up and started the library and identified books that they could start sharing. And one of those teenagers grew up, Eva Woodward Parker, to provide money, and has an endowment fund that to this day, since 1933, is still supporting the Rochester Public Library because of her support in the 1880s. So this community somehow supported those kids, and the payback was well worth it. So those are the kinds of stories we'd like to know that we were part of that somehow along the way. So.
All right, well, thank you
You're welcome.
very
Thank you
much.
very
We
much.
love when you come.
Thank you, Kathy.
All right, moving along, kind of tailgating off of that, we need to have the presentation and consideration of a capital campaign for Mount Avon Cemetery gates and entrance improvements. I know Councilmember Salvia sits on that committee, and she's involved, but come on up and state your name, your address, and take it away.
Hi, Jack DeFranco, my address too?
Yes.
Social security number, shoot.
No.
We do it.
That's for later
Say
on,
it slowly.
933 Rose Lawn, but thanks for allowing us to have some time here. So this should be real quick. I know I've been up talking to you folks probably over the last 7 or 8 years on opportunities for Mount Avon. So I'm gonna give you a quick update, and then there will be an ask for an approval at the end. So, as you may recall, we've been really trying, probably over the last 8 years, to come up with ways to pursue some projects for Mount Avon, principally around the entire gates, the fencing around the cemetery, as well as doing new gates. And we kind of identified maybe $450,000 or $500,000 that was going to be required to do all of that. And that just keeps going up every year. And along the way, we've asked for support from the city to do that. We've talked about having some ways to identify funds within the cemetery that we've come up with as well, and then we've talked about doing fundraisers. Well, it turns out that there just isn't the extra resources to basically, from the city, to get support for that. We did find a way to identify, I think it's about 80 or 90 new monument plots, which should generate a couple $100,000 worth of additional revenue. It turns out that's not really available to split. We kind of need that for other support for the cemetery. So our last kind of opportunity here is, well, what can we do through fundraisers? And we've said, well, why don't we see if we can actually do an upgrade of the gates and the entryways for the cemetery. You can see there's some sample renderings that have been pulled together. So what we would like to do, is there any way to make that bigger, anybody? Otherwise, I have ones I can pass around.
I have that one, too. It really
Just
is.
maybe
I'm
that
sorry. I'm
square,
sorry. This wasn't my presentation. so-
square to the
Oh,
right.
there we are. I'll make this as big as possible. There we go. Yeah, so this gives you a kind of rough idea. And you guys have seen in the past drawings that we've done. But in any event, we think that we can actually get, at a minimum, the main entry on 3rd Street done, as well as perhaps the other entries upgraded as well with stonework and some new gates. And notwithstanding the fact that we still would have the existing legacy chain link fencing there, we could probably incorporate that to make it at least blend in. But anyway, that's what we would like to pursue, and in order to pursue that, we talked about doing a fundraiser with the help and support of the Community Foundation. We've sort of earmarked $150,000 to do this. We've gotten some quotes, but we think might be a little bit high, so we think we can probably do one, if not perhaps two of the gates and the entryways by raising $150,000. So the way that would work is, again, it would not be any funds from the city. It would all be done through donations. It would be administered through the Community Foundation, so those donations would go to the foundation directly, and we would establish that fund, and it would be for the sole purpose of doing this, what I'll refer to as a beautification project. If for whatever reason, over the period of time that we cannot generate the full amount of funds that we would need to do this, then we would decide on some other, what I'll refer to as beautification projects. Could be new benches, could be some other things that would help out. It wouldn't be funds available for sort of general maintenance, because again, what we need to do for the donors is have them understand what the intended purpose of these funds would be utilized for. So again, we think we've got, we've penciled in some discussions around some matching funding that will help to prime the pump to do that. There's a lot of things going on at the cemetery between Memorial Day. We've got the event coming up for the 250th anniversary with the Daughters of the American Revolution on the 15th. So we're trying to promote this. We've got a communication plan. We've got a sign we want to put up. Basically, we've got the plan ready to proceed forward. We just need your support and approval to say, yes, if you come up with the funding, we're cool with going ahead and having the city approve us with the new gates and entryway. So I guess question number one is, are there any questions?
Council members, yep, Councilmember Clausen.
Are the two renderings like options, or are they going to be different?
Those are just ideas. So again, we've not gone forward and engaged the architect to do the actual drawings. Frankly, we just used the pencil drawings that we've done and AI to just get some examples.
Thank you, Jason Warner.
Yeah, thank you, Jason, for doing that. Save some money to do that. So these are just some ideas. You know,
Got it.
we're anticipating it'll be stone entries. There's been some ideas of perhaps incorporating some of the brick that has been extracted from prior projects around the city to do some brick around that. So all we're trying to shoot is just give you an idea. So clearly when the funds have been more or less raised and we're in pretty good shape and we've got quotes, then we come back and say this is what specifically we're looking to do to get everybody in the loop on that. So right now it's just some ideas.
Okay, thanks.
I support it. I guess we have to go down the line, but I've seen the communication plan. I've seen how many people you have involved. I sat on the committee, on the commission with you, waiting and hoping that this would happen. I want some head nods, or do we have to take a vote to have them move forward? It looks like,
It wouldn't be bad, yeah.
okay.
All right, so you want a motion?
A motion, okay.
So I would make a motion to support moving forward with the cemetery committee's partnership with the Community Foundation to begin a capital campaign crowdfunding effort to beautify the gates and entryways of Mount Avon Cemetery.
Someone second?
Support.
Motion by Councilmember Salvia and support by Councilmember Trent. Anybody you had a question, Councilmember?
I actually just had an idea, if this goes through, which it looks like it will. We're having the Memorial Day celebration, and it starts at Mount Avon, so there might be an opportunity there to put signage
Correct.
out or plug for
Because
this.
you're going to have a table, I know it.
Right. And no one's gonna be allowed in or out of the cemetery without coughing up. No. No, it's just
There's an
another.
entrance fee this year. Yeah.
With everybody there, anything we can do to help promote it. Yeah.
Councilmember Salvia.
So if we could just have Joe Allen from the Community Foundation talk about the role of the Community Foundation, how does that work? When someone clicks on that QR code and they want to give money, how does that happen?
We have several QR codes that support a lot of different efforts in the city, and so they're personalized to each fundraiser or program. So I think I've even provided one already, which would be specific to this program. Anybody who's in the park that Jack is saying, click here, that money goes directly into actually our PayPal account. We download that, we enter it into our system, and we send out acknowledgement letters according to IRS regulations. We do all kinds of projects and programs for nonprofits, and community nonprofits, but also community programs like this. It would be, we have a fund as well for the Van Hoosen Jones Stony Creek Cemetery for beautification. We actually have a fund because whoever might remember when the Pixley family agreed to do, I think, a mausoleum in the cemetery for the bodies that are cremated after being at OU Beaumont Med School. And we had some donors who reached out and said, man, you know, that is so awesome. We want to give some money in celebration of the Pixley family for what they've done. So we've had a fund for a long time. The basic principle of the fund is beautification and support for the cemetery. And then we've been working with Jack, and so what we want to do is take that little money that we have and build on that. And the Community Foundation, my board several years ago, I think when Nancy was chair, said we would be willing to put up some money to do a matching gift program. And so it's all ready to launch. We just haven't gotten to that point yet. So that's what we're here for tonight, to just get council to say, if you guys can raise the money, you can put a new gate and stonework in front, because with so many donors, they are a chicken and egg situation. Well, are you gonna do it? I don't wanna put
100%,
money if you're
yeah.
not gonna do it.
For sure.
And so we need to have some level of certainty that yes, we're going to do it. And then we will, I think, get people to donate to us.
Totally
Thank
that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes
100%.
sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks.
go forth.
Yes.
Vote.
Yeah.
Oh, we had to, oh, that's right, I'm sorry, it's not a head nod, it's a vote. So we had the motion, we had the second, roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
All right, now go for it.
Thank you. I'd also like to recognize Dr. Petrie, who's also on the cemetery committee, who's here tonight as well. Thank you.
Okay. All right, next we have the presentation of the mayor's Monarch Butterfly Pledge, Monarch Champion City designation by the National Wildlife Federation. Councilmember Trent?
Yes, I would like to say that the Monarch Champion designation is awarded by the National Wildlife Federation only to cities that go above and beyond in fulfilling those commitments at the highest level. And the City of Rochester has done that for the fourth year in a row. They have earned the champion designation, making us the only city in the state of Michigan that has done that. We are not competitive, but just a little. And one of only 8 cities in the country. So to achieve this honor, 24 projects have to be done every year. And we do that through Rochester Pollinators in the partnership with the City Beautiful Commission. And this year, because Councilmember Salvia, mayor at the time, had signed the Mayor's Monarch Pledge, which has to be signed every year. It gets a little confusing, but you signed it, so guess what? You get the award, the proclamation and certificate. So we're
The
going
photo.
to get the photo.
We need
Yes.
to do the photo.
And there
yes.
you go, that is for you.
Does anyone, do you need anybody from City Beautiful? to-
Yes, City Beautiful.
Any- Laura's here.
Laura. Thank you, Laura, for coming.
Jessica's here.
And you, City Beautiful, Councilmember.
Councilmember Clauser.
You can be in it.
Yes, and our liaison. Councilmember Hauser.
There we go.
Thanks, sir.
I think we need to clap for being on Monarch. We are
You
getting
know,
it
I
done
am
here.
not finished. I need to mention
Okay,
that
please.
the mini forest was one of the projects, and that we had a lot of participation from multiple community members in the city of Rochester, DPW, Parks and Rec, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, Councilmember Councilmember Hauser, and Councilmember Salvia. So thank you very much for letting us present that.
Yay, awesome. All right, do we have any public comment on any topics that are not on the agenda? step up to the podium, please, and state your name and address.
Hello, my name is Ken McCauley. I am a chiropractor on 115 Main Street. I guess I'm stopped in here today to quick bring up the topic of e-bikes and e-motorcycles. If we take an electric motor and we put it in a car, you're probably not going to let a 15-year-old drive around that car, because they would have to get a license, insurance, and registration, and then you probably wouldn't want that 15-year-old driving that car up sidewalks, right? Because even if the 15-year-old could drive the electric car, he would have to somehow still obey the traffic laws, etc. So if we put an electric motor in a car, and it's still a car, if we put an electric motor in a motorcycle, it's still a motorcycle. So these motorcycles are driving up and down these sidewalks at extreme rates of speeds. They're pulling Evel Knievel wheelies. And I think because I'm the first door you hit when you come off that slope, coming into town going north, they can generate speeds hitting 40 miles an hour, and they're about a foot off that door, and they're doing this. And I just think it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So like I said, you put an electric motor in a car, it's still a car. You put an electric motor on a motorcycle, it's still a motorcycle. And you're not going to give an electric car to a 14-year-old and let him drive it up a sidewalk. And you're not going to do that with a kid and a motorcycle. And these kids do this every day, and it's getting crazy. You go to push a door open, and you will see, woof. It'll take your it'll push you back. And I just think it's not a matter of if and a matter. I know I wrote you an email, and I've been there for 20 years, and it used to be just bicycles at 10 speed because they get the momentum, and then you have to do it. And I just fear one day someone's going to walk out there and they're going to get popped. And I just wish there was something we could do about it. I know in Clarkston, for years, Clarkston just has a simple sign that says, please walk your bikes. I don't know, but just today, I had Jason in my office, and there's a group of bikers, and you look out, and they're cutting across the roads, they're cutting into the turn lanes, they're going the opposite directions. It's crazy. And I just find it to be a safety issue, and that's it. I don't think there's anything wrong with a little kid getting on an e-bike, going fishing or to visit his friends, but these are flat-out motorcycles, and they go real fast, and they shouldn't be on the sidewalks.
Thank you. We really appreciate your concern.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up. Step on up.
You have this at the beginning of the park, no motorized vehicles, or authorized vehicles only.
Can you state your name first and your address, please?
My name's Frank McFarland. I'm at 331 Dre Street, so I can get to the park in about 10 minutes. I have the same issues that gentleman has. Walk through the park, they buzz right by you. This is up there, so why is this there? We're not enforcing this? Or can we enforce this? I thought, supporting this gentleman there, no motorized vehicles are allowed on sidewalks. I remember that from driver's training. Why isn't that being enforced? Oh, I love the smile.
It's just this venue is just for public comment, not for us to go through a discussion. So we do appreciate what you're saying, and I guess I can go far as to say this is on our agenda. It was going to be on our agenda tonight, but the police chief is trying to gather more information.
Oh, okay.
Everyone up here will agree, we know we have to address it. So that's why really we take the public comment. We will have a whole public comment. It'll be on the agenda.
Okay.
Probably the next meeting of city council, we're going to bring forth information to be discussed by council. We will set a public hearing because this will be a variance. This is a big decision to make, but ordinance, not a variance. I'm going to go, yeah. So we know we understand the concerns.
Just to go one step further than him, I see all age groups. I mean, I see 67-year-old guys buzzing through the park too, so it's just not just the kids.
Well, no, I know.
And we were all kids at
Yeah.
one time, and I
Right.
understand that.
And that's why we have to really explore everything. We've looked, several council members, Council Mauser Hauser being one, has gone to some other cities to see how they're managing it with their ordinance. So we are taking this very seriously, and it will be addressed.
All right, thank you.
So we appreciate your concerns. All right, I did want to take a moment, I think here I can do that. We have an intern that works here at the city, and I just wanted to have her stand up and to say this is Allison Johnston. And you can say a few words if you want about what you're doing here. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Allison Johnson. Currently, I am now a junior at Rochester Christian University. I was given the honor and opportunity to be an intern in the finance department under Marcy Morawaki. And I've also been given the opportunity to work in the Downtown Development Authority recently. So I've just been very grateful to learn a lot and to experience just the city, just what it is involved in the city, just through these different avenues. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being part of our city. Very good. Any other public comment on any topics not on the agenda? Okay, we're going to move on to the approval of the consent agenda, which includes the consideration of the minutes from the regular meeting of April 27th, 2026, and the receipt of the check register report. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support? Hauser. Okay, motion by Mayor Pro Tem, support by Hauser. Roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Now we have some old business to revisit, so it's consideration to adopt the fiscal year 2027 budget. Marcy, are you coming up?
I'll start off, if you will.
Okay,
Yes. Yep.
absolutely. City manager.
So, council, last meeting, we had our scheduled public hearing for our upcoming fiscal year's budget. It was Anthony made a presentation. It's a radical overhaul of the actual physical document that he used the AI tool, obviously. Anthony's at the top of his game with that. It went deep into the website, customer friendly. It went through a lot of stuff. A lot of good questions came up. Not many from the audience, but we had your comments, and then I know Marcy's talked to individuals who made appointments to clarify asks. We took that seriously. Anthony and Marcy put that together so that, knowing that this is the first year of this new look, the presentation obviously is a little overwhelming. And we said this at the last meeting, the same information that's been in there every single year is in there. It just looks different, it's in different places. So we know, and Anthony said, we're gonna get this better and better. So as you go into the next year's budget, we tweak, we make it more user-friendly. But tonight, I believe we're looking for the approval of the budget. Marcy's got any answer, or has answers to any questions that you might have. Again, it's not a public hearing, but if somebody had something to say, we don't have an issue with that. But we're looking for support of the budget. And again, it's a living document. That's why we do quarterly updates with finance. So we think that we did our best to answer everybody's questions. And again, format will change over the years, as it always has. So with that, if I think, Marcy, you want to say anything, or if we have questions?
I think you covered it.
So we'll start with the council's questions. Anyone? Councilmember Hauser.
I would just say that, obviously, we've had this for quite some time, and I had an opportunity to meet with Marcy this morning, Mayor, you and I as well, and the few questions I did have were answered, and I understand everything fully. So thank you for spending some time with me this morning and clarifying just a couple of those issues, but I don't have anything further.
Mayor, I just want, we're not blowing this off for anybody watching. We had a public hearing, we went through the document.
Right.
It's on the website, it's been published, it's done everything right. So this is, at the end of the journey, it's an adoption, but we've had this out there to the public. And again, so don't underestimate that. We're not going numbers tonight. We did that last meeting.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, so I had a few comments last time about not thinking some of the things should be on there. And to me, they're still on there. So on page 47, the department request for future consideration, I don't think that should be on there. And again, things that we didn't talk about. And I'm not saying we don't have a place for future considerations. I mean, it's not like but to me, why would you have budget numbers on things that either didn't get brought up to the council or had no support of the council? So I think the whole table B, and there's a couple on there that I thought we had approved that aren't in the budget that say are in future considerations. So, and I know I talked to Marcy about this, but I think this should be taken off.
So on page 47, during the April 27th meeting, it was discussed revamping how page 47 is shown. In prior budgets, we put a project matrix in that budget, and it included, for transparency purposes, all of the asks that were made, departmental, city council, commissions, and otherwise. So we've always included all the asks. By breaking it into a table 2, we're showing those were not approved and are not included in the budget numbers. But we want to show that we did talk about things, and that next available dollar that is available to spend, these are the items that have already been vetted.
But I would just interrupt and say they weren't talked about, and I don't want to argue, but some of these things were not talked about, and they're on here. I don't think they should be on here. I mean, I don't want to.
Okay, could you give an example?
Yes, city planner was not discussed.
So we talked about it
We
in
talked about the
January.
meeting. I withdrew my request during the meeting, the study meeting. We took that off. I removed that request.
So why is it in there then?
Because we don't know down the line some
Well,
days.
and again, it's good to have a list of things down the line. Why do you have this in the 2027 budget? So that's one thing. My second issue is, smaller issue is the SWOT alignment. I mean, I see all these things justifying these things. In reality, we spend 5 minutes on SWOT, 10 minutes on SWOT. I mean, is it real? You know, we didn't really have lengthy discussions on that. So again, a second thing. And then the third thing is, I think that the interactive website should come down until it's looked at, discussed, proofed by, maybe the finance committee or something else, because to me, there's some things there that, one, could be confusing, and two, really wasn't discussed, wasn't vetted, it was just, it's out there. So those are the kind of the three things that I think should be off. I think I've talked to other council people who maybe agree.
Agree with that.
So those are my issues with budget. Now, the underlying budget numbers, I think are good. I think that reflects all of our values and what we wanted. It's a balanced budget. It's a good budget. So I'm good with that. I'm just not good with the way it looks. And, I think the whole presentation of it, you say it was in other budgets, well, then to me, the presentation was maybe not very successful.
Why don't we take all the comments, if that's okay, and then if
Yeah,
you want to
absolutely.
wrap
Yeah.
it up with some answers. Councilmember Clauser.
Yeah, I would say I support Councilmember Bixen's idea to remove the items that were discussed but not formally supported, approved, or funded by council. My concern is less about the individual ideas themselves and more about clarity and public understanding. I think right now the way it's presented is very confusing around what we actually supported and what was simply discussed or remains exploratory. The budget workshops I thought were great. Those are public meetings, so I absolutely support transparency. I think residents can attend those meetings, they can review the packets, or we can provide summary and notes and takeaways online of what we discussed. So all for transparency, but I don't think the adopted final budget document itself is the place to include partial lists of unapproved items or unresolved concepts. And getting to, Nick's question about examples, a couple of concerns I have is, this isn't a full list of everything we talked about. There are other ideas, maybe not fully vetted, but that were discussed at that meeting that were in here. One example is Runyon Road. We talked about a crosswalk that goes to support an HOA clubhouse. That's not on here for future discussion, and we did not support that. We flat out didn't discuss, the city planner was yes on there, but it was withdrawn, so we never really got a dialogue on that at all or discuss any kind of future direction. Police cadet program, there wasn't broad support for that one. So I wouldn't assume it would be coming back this year. And then when I look at the projects that are included, the only one that I don't agree with that we ended on was the flock cameras. I think there was support amongst us that given the concerns, we wanted to make sure that that went through the public vetting process in the city council, and it did, and we, didn't vote to proceed with that. So I'm not sure why it's still in the budget. So again, I agree with Councilmember Bixson. I do think overall we're in a financially good position, but when it comes to all these projects and discussion items, it's just really confusing on how it's presented here in this final document that we're supposed to be adopting.
Councilmember Trent?
Yes, I would say I agree with Mayor Pro Tem Bixson and Councilmember Cosser. It's page 47. It sounds like room 55 or something, but it's just, you get to pay, I mean, everything's going swimmingly, mostly, and then you get to page 47. And what it says here at the summary at the beginning, it says Table A lists projects proposed for budget adoption. So they're still proposed, not really knowing when they will be approved. So that's a confusion. And then it was, and I know you said this was in last year's budget too. I guess you guys did a stellar job, an A+ on laying this out and making it very apparent that this is page 47. And yes, and then the department requests for future consideration are on there. Now, what my problem is with that is that all of our names are on the inside front cover. Would be to, if someone asked me about this, I didn't approve some of these things, especially for future consideration, and then a couple that, yeah. So that was my concern. And the other thing is, for the administration recommendations, each section here with the 2027 objectives. And I think we talked about that if they're not fully discussed and our name is on this, if somebody asks me about it, I won't know. And so I think it would be nice if we just had a second book or a second pamphlet or booklet, not pamphlet, but booklet, that would have these things pulled out so that we'll know, here's this wonderful budget and we're not stuck in page 47. That's what I'm thinking, unless there's a way to figure it out, to get what's ever supposed to be where we think it should be, and the rest is in a separate booklet.
Councilmember King?
So I think my comments are very consistent with what's on here. I do think there's a couple items from Table B that we did mark for future consideration around like the community house, the flooding for the fire department, those being the two. That we really talked about, the new ladder truck. We were looking at other options and how funding would work, but that is something out there for the future. But some of these others were like very clear, hard no's. I wouldn't expect that they would necessarily come back in any near-term timeframe. And then also, the flock cameras, I think during our meetings, we said, well, let's pencil this in potentially for the budget, but we want to go in front of the community first. We want to have public hearing. We didn't quite get to the public hearing portion, but council voted and we declined that item. So I would expect to see that removed. That's my biggest issue, I think, with the budget. I don't want my name on a document that has that in there since I voted against it. I think if it said cameras, I think there was some kind of general consideration that we would expect a future consideration for cameras, not flock, but other cameras in the city. And so that could be in a future consideration, but I think in the proposed for budget adoption, I don't want to see the flock cameras in there. I know I appreciate the time you spent with me going through the other budget items. I will say for those of us who are not on the Budget and Finance Committee, as a council, we didn't really spend time going through kind of the whole city, the department budgets. It's really like, here's our budgets, here's where our general fund is, and then we look at all of the project requests that are outside of the department budgets. So I needed to spend a lot of time to understand what those budgets were. We as a group have not said, hey, we should look deeper at some of these expenses, things that are flowing through those budgets. Those are kind of just set by the departments, and we're given those. So, you know, I think where we're at in the process, obviously, we can't change that, but I think going forward, we need to look at those as a council. I don't think it should just be the departments give us budgets and this is what it is and we accept it because we're approving this. I think as a council, we need to take a look at that, and that needs to be earlier in the process too. So, you know, because that gets thrown in here at the end. I didn't see any of those department budgets till April, or mid-April. So that's just my other feedback.
Council members.
Thank you. Marcy, I would love Table 6, if that's possible, to have that up on the screen. Do you need to know what page that's on? So Table 6 is the fund balance. Fund balance.
I think Megan is in control.
Oh, Megan's got it? Well, I'll start talking, because I have a few things to say before we get to that part, which is why I thought I'd ask to have it queued up first. So, you know, overall, I support this budget. It's strong, it's fiscally responsible, it's a balanced multi-year budget, even though we really only approve this next fiscal year, the 2027. It does a lot of things for our residents. We have a dedicated, excellent police, fire, water department, DPW, excellent public safety and service. We have library and trash with no separate millage. And we are making investments in our downtown, dynamic downtown and parks. We're also holding our promises to our current and future pension and retirees, with our pension being 86% funded and our health care for retirees overfunded. Page 47, everyone wants to talk about page 47. A couple highlights that I gleaned from that page is we are investing $450,000 in facilities, $453,000 to pay off debt early, $340,000 into equipment, and $1.9 million in roads, sidewalks, and parking lots. Are we still looking for page 6 or table 6?
I've got it page 14. Page 14.
Yeah. Is it page 14?
Thank you,
I'll keep talking, because I know AI is listening and taking notes and all of that good stuff. We also added 1 full-time and 1 part-time employee, Parks and Code, based on gaps that we identified and administration identified in terms of service expectations of our residents, and I think that's important to note. Page 106, I spent a lot of time looking at the variances. The variances show where we are spending less or more than our last budget. So it was a net decrease, which is always good. A lot of that has to do with timing of projects. But I really want to give credit to the efforts by administration. You know, small things like reducing dues and subscriptions by $57,000. That's notable.
61.
Table 6.
Table 6.
Right at the top of the page, it's right,
There's everyone's favorite. Wait, back up.
right there.
Fund balance.
Really easy to read.
Yeah, we need it a little bigger, but
Oh, my God.
my point is going to be about some red numbers on the right, and so you'll be able to see them.
Say the numbers out loud.
I will say the numbers, and we can
If she
refer to
can't
them.
get it bigger.
Yep.
Find and Zoom is right up there, I guess. It's up there, nope, there we go. And zoom a little, yeah,
Megan, you're doing great.
there we go, yeah.
I think Marcy.
I think Marcy's on it.
Oh, Marcy's on it.
Still up from there.
You're like a ventriloquist.
I think if you hit the box in the top right, there you go.
So is this the?
Perfect, perfect.
That's good.
I have one more comment, and then I'm going to refer to that. We had talked about the good news in the budget in terms of saving on dues and subscriptions, reduced park future costs because we have been awarded a grant for Elizabeth Park. You know, we don't have the money yet, but it's been awarded. That's good news. Costs of healthcare continue to increase strongly by double digits, which remains a concern. As well as other things I'm concerned about are things we can't control. State funding sources, change of policies by the county and the state. You know, certainly there are things that keep me up at night, even though this is a very strong fiscally responsible budget. So what I really want to talk about was tagging on my comments from the last meeting regarding planning for capital planning. 3 areas. First is infrastructure, second is revolving equipment, and third is facilities. So kind of a number that we discuss is it's $100 million that we need to put into our roads. That's a very big number when you have a $20 million budget. And I was thinking about this in light of when I talk to my clients who are getting ready to retire. You know, depending on how much you spend in retirement, it might cost you $5 to $10 million over your lifetime. Well, does that mean everyone has to have $5 to $10 million before they retire? No, you plan for it. Same thing with our infrastructure, same thing with our revolving equipment, same thing with our facilities. So when I look at these 3 categories and look at funds that we have allocated, as well as our policy, infrastructure within this budget, I think we're doing a pretty good job by putting $1.95 million in this year's budget. We allocated an additional $350,000. So I think we did a good job, also knowing that that's 2027, 2028, we're going to be doing North Main. We're going to be really busy with that. So that gives us a pass for another year. So infrastructure, good. Revolving equipment, if you look at page 110 to 112, over the next 3 years, we spend $1.8 million a year on equipment, including maintenance of $186,000 a year. If you look at the fund balance in years 2028 and 2029, that's where you'll see those red numbers. Below that, the discretionary general fund balance, let's just look at 2027, 2028, $12,386,992. That is above our policy of $6 million, and it is within council's discretion to allocate within that those categories, if you will, of general fund. The general fund, capital project, facilities, revolving equipment, and healthcare. So my suggestion, and I don't know if this is something we can do on the fly, or if this is something we would need to bring back mid-year, I don't see why we wouldn't allocate for 2028 and 2029 those red numbers, the $33,934 and the $190,902. Take it out of discretionary general fund, put it in revolving equipment to have our fund balance remain in policy. Otherwise, honestly, I feel like where is our discipline to our budget policy? We have a fund policy. This budget we're approving is just for the 1 year, but we should be following our policy for those 2 years. My third comment regarding planning for capital has to do with facilities. So at the last meeting, Treasurer Maggio said we have about $100 million in buildings. In our general fund categories of capital projects and facilities, we have put some resources for maintenance and improvement in those, but probably below what we need. And this was noted in the revised version of the budget, where it's described as life cycle capital sustainability to be a strategic priority. So this, I would really like to get council's thoughts on this. To me, this would be a priority for this next fiscal year. We're probably within the budget committee, within the asset management. I know Jason has been working on some really interesting things to look at our facilities and help us plan even better for the future. I mean, the reality is we've updated the firehouse, the DPW building. We're on the brink of hopefully getting something done with community house. City Hall is probably next. Within the next 100 years, we're probably going to spend some money here. So I would just like for us to have some discussion around what should we be allocating, what methodology should we be allocating, so that when we have a project, we have some funds set aside for that. So that is my main thoughts on things that I would like to see. So I'm going to go back to revolving equipment. Is that something that we need to make a motion? Is that something we could do? Is that something we should discuss?
So as a council, you'll be approving, hopefully tonight, the budget for 2027. You're not approving budgets going forward. You can, as you had stated, as a workshop, have this be a topic for discussion going forward. And I think it's a valid one. We've talked about it before, how to use the surplus of fund balance in a way that it doesn't just sit and earn interest, that we put those tax dollars to use. So tonight, the ask is about the 27 budget. But I believe it's a legitimate and a very good comment to make going forward and allocating surpluses.
So is that something that we could discuss at like our quarterly budget update?
You could, or we could have a workshop for it.
That's what remember we've talked a bunch about, a few of you like to remind us that, you don't know what you're not on all the committees. And we can't do that by law, right? So, but the value is having you together. So what we would do is have a Saturday, a Thursday night workshop where all together we can have deep dives into individual line items way prior to the big project. So I agree, it's hard to sit up here and say, I haven't even had my chance to discuss with my colleagues, but 3 people did on the committee. That's just the way our structure is here. But I think a workshop to go deep into that dive, and I think the key is, good news, the Reds the next year, so we're okay there. A totally valid point, and I would love to have a workshop where we can get into some of these future plannings. Remember, we need 4 of you to agree. Each of you have your passions and your beliefs, so it's difficult for us to juggle that because we respect everything that you do. But when we get together in a workshop, we can hack it out like we do at our regular workshops, right? And then we come to a consensus so we get clear direction and everybody feels good about it at the same time. So I'm not trying to glad hand you. I just really believe you work together quite well. And you'd work better when we discuss things together, and then you'll have your experts here. You're paying us to give you our opinions, and you set the policy. So we don't have to wait until next budget season to do it. Let's get this going as soon as we want to go. So it's my 2 cents.
And I just want to build on that for a minute. So I do appreciate Councilmember Salvia bringing that to us. And it kind of builds on my opinion about how much money we have in the fund balance. Just throw that out again. That I think we really need to look at that tax dollars that are sitting there. And I think that's a great way to start. And I agree, let's get a workshop and, which would be open to the public, and start talking about it. So thank you for that. Councilmember King, and then I'll do closing.
Just a quick question. So the -33 or -190, it's actually not just what's short of 510, it's 510 plus that negative.
Correct.
Right? But then you look at like facilities and grounds, I mean, we're way in excess of what those fund balances are in capital projects. So maybe it's at, I don't know, is that fund balance policy number right?
Right.
If we
Yes.
don't feel like we need to be anywhere near that.
That's where it starts.
And when you look, really, what I care about is the last line, the discretionary general subtotal, right? Like, we're well in excess of where we need to be, double in excess, so.
And I would like to add that the reason why I'm okay with the red on major roads is once you put money in roads, you can't get it back out. So that red number, I'm okay. We're going to plan for that.
That's a great point. Thank you for that. Councilmember Clauser?
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate Councilmember Salvia's comments, and then also your reading of the good things in the budget at the beginning. I think that's why we make a good team, right? I didn't mean to come out swinging on page 47. I think there's a lot of good things in the budget and that we did accomplish, and I think the work group sessions were great. And I agree. I think another working session would be even better. I think there are, like I said, I sent an email with comments. I think there's opportunity over time to continue to refine the process. Particularly, Nick, you commented on some of the, definitions of roles and committee processes and workshop discussions. We're not all coming from the same place, right? We don't all have the same information, and that's where we get into some of these, I think, that's when we start to veer, right? And I don't think by any means it requires an overhaul. I think what happened was good. I think it's, just fine tweaking in the process, so I'm looking forward to that. And then I did want to make one more comment on something Councilmember Bixson said, because I did have it in some of the comments I wanted to raise, was about the AI tool that we saw. So my biggest concern with that, and I kind of said it when we saw it, was just making sure we're very clear about the distinction between illustrative, educational information and individualized financial interpretations. I'm very comfortable with the tools that help residents understand broadly where their tax dollars are going across city services. I'm less comfortable moving too quickly into individualized estimates or interpretations without additional vetting or safeguards and clarity around accuracy and limitations of that. We talked about, the source of truth for data, how often it gets updated, guardrails like that. And then I think, this is something we've talked about, we continue to adopt newer technology and tools, and I think we'll get into this a little bit later with some of the police tools that are on the agenda, but especially around AI-assisted or automated systems, I think it's just important that, policy and governance evolve alongside them, right? So if we want to be on the leading edge of all of these technologies, then I think policy and guardrails are not keeping pace, right? These are new things that people are experimenting with, and if we decide, and maybe we need to have a conversation around that, is like, do we want to be on the leading edge? Then we also need to be on the leading edge of policies, right? And making sure that these things are being deployed safely for our residents and our constituents. I also think that maybe that's not where we want to be. Maybe we don't want to be on the leading edge. We're a small city, so maybe we're a fast follower of some of these AI technologies. And so overall, I'm not opposed to the innovation. I want to make sure that we're implementing it, like I said, thoughtfully and responsibly. And what we saw, I think, just raises a lot of questions for me. So I like Councilmember Bixon's comments about taking it to the Finance and Budget Committee or another forum to vet that further. I just wanted to comment on that.
Okay, in summary, I tried to look at what everyone said. It seems like the website was a concern, what is posted on there. A workshop for the fund balance discussion and the discretionary categories, AI, future discussions about AI, and page 47. So some of that is just, we'll do in a workshop. That's low hanging, I think. What is the opportunity to do for page 47 to not be in the budget?
So by charter, the council is directed to adopt a budget in the first meeting in May. So what I'm hearing is there's quite a bit of concern over formatting. There's quite a bit of concern over the tools used to create this new formatted budget. There are some requests to modify it going forward. The changes that we made were not to the numbers. So the heart of a budget is its numbers. So if you're comfortable as a council with the revenues reported and the expenditures reported, I would respectfully request that you approve the budget tonight. If you're not, then there's some implications to that. So I would like to just stand here and keep talking to you until I can get you comfortable with the vote to approve the budget. But I believe what I'm hearing is there's some continued changes on formatting and how we move forward going into the future. We are more than happy to address those. Nick hit the nail on the head. A budget is a living, breathing document. We're constantly changing that. Every day we're pulling information from different sources and we're modifying it. We report to City Council quarterly. We're making those changes on the fly, updating the data system every single day. We are more than capable of making the changes that you're requesting. Can't make them today in this document, but can make them going forward format-wise. So that's what
So my question is, and then I'll let you talk real quick. I think everyone's a yes on the budget part. What is the reason why that, because that seems to be an irritant to many of the councilmen, that page 47 has to be in there. They really feel strongly that it's an indicator that somehow we're looking forward to discuss some of those things that we are an absolute no, we're not looking forward, we're not gonna do those in the next budget, we are a no. Can we take that document
Yeah,
out?
absolutely, you can take page 47 out. There's no
There we go.
reason why you can't take page 47 out. It's just I can't take page 47 out of what you have before you. I mean, I can't do it today, because I just learned that you wanted it out. But tomorrow, it can be out.
Okay, all right.
Later tonight, it can be out. So,
I think that's a great compromise. I think everyone, and I think Councilmember Clauser said it, I think Councilmember Cutts, everybody has said that the numbers, it's a great budget. It's balanced, we support where the funds are going, we're doing our job as council. Councilmember Hauser.
Just to be clear, because I want to make sure, I think, at least for me, the numbers are what the numbers are, okay?
Right,
And I don't want to speak for everyone else, but I don't have any issue with respect to the budget. If it's simply tables A and B on page 47 that can be removed, I think there'd probably be consensus. But my question is this, can that be done subsequent, if we say yes tonight?
Yeah,
can
she
you
said
just-
it could be done tomorrow.
Right, but we can approve it tonight, so we don't have to do the summer tax issue tonight. I know I'm not speaking clearly, but I just want to make sure that if we say yes, subject to removal of tables A and B, we can move on from this and we can be done.
yes, yes.
Okay?
So,
Okay, we
Is
have
there
a couple
anything in
questions.
that
Let's start.
that
Mayor
you
Pro
need a
Tem's been trying to
I don't think
No,
so.
I'm done.
start there and we'll go down. Are you done?
Well,
I am, thank you.
Well, first I was going to say, as someone who's been on the council a long time, our budget process now, as opposed to back in the day, is fabulous, is more sophisticated. As I always like to say, back in the day, we had one meeting, approve the budget.
When was back in the day?
just a couple of years.
And there were some people who felt like.
About 15 years ago.
And there was people who felt like that was really good governance, I might add. So, and again, as Council Member Salvia said, we have a lot of good things in the budget. We fund our police, we fund our fire department, we have a balanced budget. It's all good. So I would like to make a motion that we approve the 2027 budget as it is, with the proviso that page 47 is eliminated from the process.
Do I have support for that motion? Support by
I
Councilmember
will
Saab.
support that motion.
So we'll have discussion now.
I have a question.
We have a motion with support, now discussion.
Oh, pardon me.
Councilmember Clausen.
Okay, could I just add one thing? So along with the approval of the budget, you're approving the budget appropriation resolution that's included in your packet as in the budget on page 113 and 114. So that's the breakdown of the millage. So you're approving the budget, you're approving the budget appropriation resolution on page 113 and 114 of your revised budget.
And the millage is not changing.
No.
Yeah, that was the main comment I want to make, is one of the most important parts of this budget is there's no increase in tax rates.
Right. So everyone, okay. You guys know the pages she referred to, because we have to look at those when we do this.
Page
vote.
113.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Councilmember Clausen.
Okay, I have a couple questions on the motion. So, page 47, there's two tables. The top table is what is in the budget.
The
So
numbers.
taking that out gives us less,
Page 47 is informative. It's informative of what's included in the budget. The budget is the numbers, and the top, table A
right here, page
is
13,
included,
following.
is included in the number,
Yeah.
table A.
Yeah.
Table B was not ever included
Correct.
in the budget.
Yep.
So when you're, maybe I'm not hearing the
No, I
question.
didn't finish my comment.
Oh,
So,
pardon me.
okay, so table A, right, we talked about taking out the whole page, but table A is in the budget, right? These numbers, so like the funding, $20,000 for Hallbeck bathrooms, that is incorporated in these numbers, right, that we're approving.
Yes.
Yes, the ones at the bottom, table B, is the ones that the original
So you're, I
proposal was.
see where she's going.
Where I'm going is,
We agree.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
table
leave A and
B
take
should
A
be
out.
taken out, table A should remain.
Yep.
And then I would add to the motion, like that adjustment, but I would like the flock cameras taken out of the budget. So
Or if it
the
just said
20,000.
camera.
Can it just say cameras?
Or live cameras, or, yeah, we did not approve that, and it got declined, so it just needs to be adjusted.
Sure.
Just, you're just saying, even, I think Councilmember King said, just don't have flock cameras, have.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that correct,
Yeah,
Councilmember King?
yep.
And so,
Yep.
Causer?
You'd be good with flock, or
Right.
not,
Okay,
live cameras. Yeah.
Live cameras.
just live cameras, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marcy, where's Anthony? I said, where's Anthony? You poor thing.
Oh, no problem at all.
You're
Yeah.
doing a wonderful job
No
of
problem
taking
at
all the
all.
questions.
So table B out, table A in, modification to the flock camera. It shall read cameras and annual subscription.
That would
Can I-
be satisfying.
Can I add, I'm sorry, can I add
Yeah.
one more thing to the motion?
Yeah.
Since we're having
It
it.
was your motion.
That's right, I can do whatever I want, right? That we take down the interactive website as well until approved by and vetted by the Finance Committee and then to the full council. Pull that down as well.
Sure.
Yep.
Just want the budget
Yes,
done,
yes,
right?
Yep.
yes.
Heck, yeah,
Yes, yes.
can't wait, yep. That's not.
Councilmember Trent.
All good. I just wanted to thank Marcy's for speaking with me on Friday when I did say, yes, the budget numbers were good. And same conversation. I really appreciated her taking my call, and she said she would even talk to me over the weekend. But I put that aside, but I appreciate that. And I got to say, this was my 4th year, and this was the clearest presentation of the budget yet. I know it was difficult, but maybe a little, but it's because you did such a good job of presenting and providing us this document.
Councilmember Salvia.
Yeah, I just really wanted to say kudos to Treasurer Maggio, Assistant Treasurer Moriwaki, the Budget Committee, Mayor Jones, Mayor Pro Tem Bixson, Councilmember Trent. Thank you for your extra work that you put in on the Budget Committee. I know we've had a lot of comments regarding the format. I do believe it is an improved format. The proof is we all notice things, so that's how you know it is improved, and the delivery of this 2026, 2027 budget. So just wanted to thank those people.
And I'm just going to add on to that as we wrap this up, that I really appreciate about this council, the dialogue we have. I hope that the citizens appreciate the dialogue. And that next year we spoke about having one-on-one meetings with the finance department so we can air some of our questions and concerns that way, still having our discussions here, but that might help move this along in a different way, so. Thank you. And Councilmember Hauser.
Just to do a quick housekeeping, so just to be certain what we're voting on, so.
I think he has to restate the motion at this point.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Can we
then that's
do
fine.
that?
That's
We
fine.
have to vote on what we vote, because there's been so much added and deleted. and-
Yeah, if I could maybe read.
Okay,
The motion is to approve the budget with removing page 47's Table B, modifying Table A's camera labeling, and to temporarily take down the interactive website.
That's what I've got my notes. Okay, thank you.
so now do we have to have Mayor Pro Tem say that?
And the resolution on page
Yes.
113
And
and
the
114.
resolution.
And the budget appropriation resolution, please.
Oh, and the budget,
Are we good? And we have a second?
Support. Oh, Nancy supported, yes. Yep.
So I think we can do it that way? Clerk, okay, take the roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Bixson,
Yes.
Klauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Thank you.
7-0.
Thank you. Oh, wow.
Thank you, Mercy.
Yes, so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for being so patient with us.
Thank you.
Okay.
The binder's back.
There are no public hearings, I gotta catch myself here, no legislative deliberation, reports and regular business. We are going to have consideration of request to vacate Scott Street, and City Manager Nick Banda is gonna start us off.
I am. So, council, from time to time, residents that are adjacent to, we have alleys that are platted, but we have different categories. Some are, we call them abandoned. We still, on the property gateway, Oakland County records show there's a alley right away. There are stub streets. 3rd Street's got one, Scott Street's got one. There's a bunch of them around town. From time to time, coming down by Albertson, I think it was Short Street that came through. So from time to time, a new person will buy adjacent to that property and say, I'm cutting it for the last however long, or whoever owned it. Is there any way we could vacate it? What's the process? So we were approached by Patrick and Sandra Seyfirth, which are owners of 1211 North Oak. And they are adjacent to the Scott Street property. They're here this evening. We're going to have them come up and explain the reasoning why they came to us and said, is there a reason that you have that? It's a private driveway basically going through. It's got wooden barricades at the end of the street that goes into the Scott Street Park. First step, we went to DPW, see if there's any utilities in the right-of-way. There's a water main, I believe, Nick, in the middle of it. Storm line. So we looked at that, what would we need as an easement? So if we ever had to dig that storm line up, if we vacated the property. Standard state law, you vacate a piece of property, this case it's 50 feet wide, each property owner gets half. What they do with it later, if one half wanted to quit claim deed it to somebody else, to the other person, they could, but by law, one person can't get both sides. You split it and down the middle. So we worked with them, they came in, DPW okayed the fact that we don't need to get back there, but we need an easement for the storm sewer. So if you would, we would have the petitioner come up and talk about why they want to do that, and what that looks like in the future. Worked with Attorney Crott, we went through the process. Literally, city council in one meeting can vacate that right away. And again, the legal descriptions would then have to be amended for both sides of the street, because their property to maintain, it goes on the tax roll, quite frankly. So if you wouldn't mind
Step
to
on
have
up,
the folks
yep.
come on up. I think they're both here, both sides are
Name
here.
and addresses, please, would be great.
Sure. Patrick Seaforth, this is my wife, Sandy Seaforth, and we live at 859 Ramblewood in Rochester, and we've been in that area for 27 years, since 1999. And this is Betty Tomlins, and she's the adjacent property owner, and I'll let her speak for herself.
Betty Tomlin, 1305 North Oak. I'm on the north side of Scott.
Okay, take
So-
it away.
And thank you for all the work, and congratulations, Nancy, on your award. And I'm not asking for any money here at all. Let's be very clear about that. And Ron Saman, some of you know, he's somebody who has real estate experience in Rochester, and I've asked him to assist us as well, because there would need to be a survey and redrawing and redescription of the property as well. So it's pretty straightforward. I don't have a PowerPoint. I do have a zip drive if anyone needs it. We tried to submit everything to make it very clear, because we did purchase 1211 North Oak, and there's a felled, a telephone pole at the end of it. It's, right behind Mr. C's, for those of you who know where it is. We tried to submit a property map to make it clear, and also to show the condition of the property as it exists now and what we would intend to do with it. We truly want to make this a win-win-win. I'm very aware, because we've lived in this city for a long time. In fact, when there was this description of the historical area, we live right behind there in Stony Creek Ridge, and everything that they're doing there is great. We intend to make this great too. We would intend to have this coincide with the mini forest, with the new Scott Street Skate Park, and really beautify the city at no cost. In fact, there would be slight gain, because this would go on to the tax rolls of the city, and there would be more money, as a result of that. And so we would request the vacation of that area with the proviso that the easement, as Jeff Crate had developed, be done. We worked with Nick Schaefer about how this should look, because there's a shared driveway, and we would want to demarcate that. That's Exhibit C to our proposal. We showed that. Betty Tomlins can tell you a little bit, because she's been there since 1979, is it?
1972, 54 years. I just have always thought that something should be done with the street. My husband and I, many years ago, thought it would be nice if it could at least be blacktopped. And of course, that would have been our expense, and at the time, we couldn't do it. Our neighbors weren't interested in participating. So we just kind of dropped it, and I just hoped and prayed along the way something would happen, and now something is going to happen.
So, well, we hope so.
Well, I'm assuming
So we
it's going to improve the neighborhood, so how can anyone say no?
Yeah, and we did, I don't know if the council has all of these, but, we asked several of the neighbors, Mr. C's being one, he submitted a letter of support. I think somebody here mentioned Oak Street Design. It happens to be that Jenna Campbell and her husband, they live a couple doors down. And they submitted a letter. I don't have that. I think that went to Mr. Schaefer and then one of the other neighbors as well. We certainly intend this to be integrated in, to the other parts that have been beautified by the city, and it would be at no cost to the city. Access would be maintained as well to the parks, and there would be an easement that would be retained by the city. So with that, we would request the approval of the resolution to go forward, and that's a joint request, and I don't believe there's any objection to it. And Ron, I know you've worked on some of these before. If you have anything else to say.
I mean, this street, I walked the street just a few days ago, and it's a stub road, like Nick Manda said. It's 165 feet long by 50 feet wide, and it's not your typical road. It's a gravel road, and the end of the road is marked by either a fallen tree or a fallen telephone pole. So it's not a typical Rochester-type road. So the thought is to abandon the road. Half the property would go to each homeowner, and we would revise their legal descriptions to include each half. So that'd be property that's going to be on the tax roll. And if you look at Exhibit C of that package, we're going from a gravel road with a fallen tree at the end to market to really, it's a beautiful, beautiful road, a beautiful driveway that both parties will access. And what we'll do is we'll do a reciprocal driveway easement and maintenance agreement, for both parties. So I really think it's a win-win for everybody. It gets on the tax rolls. City doesn't have to maintain it. I'm not really sure they have been maintaining it, but they don't have to in the future. And you have a beautiful road rather than a gravel road with a fallen tree at the end. So that's what I think.
I think it's Exhibit C if I don't
Can you-
know, do I do that or?
Yeah, somebody
Give it a
can,
try.
Megan, somebody can.
We have help.
Is this?
If you probably
Yeah,
just scroll down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go to
I-
page 36.
Or put the number in at the top, where the number 3 is, make that 36.
36,
See it by the 307 or whatever.
right there.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
That way we won't be here all night.
There's a Pistons game on.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Pistons game started
Okay.
half an hour ago.
And I apologize for my being a Luddite.
No.
But anyway, that's what it would look like. I don't know if 35 would be the prior.
If you just scroll up, it'll get you to 35.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is what it looks like now. For orientation, this is just the property, the county property map. And so we showed, this is Mr. C's, right here. And then to the east of it is North Oak Street, which is this street right here. And I tried to write in, where the property we purchased is 1211 North Oak. This is the property in question that we sought to be abandoned. And this is Ms. Tomlin's property right here at 1305. This is what, this is really important because Betty's been living with this for many years, but getting to each driveway would require going down this road. And so I think maintaining it, a little bit better would be helpful. No criticism at all to the city, but it's just, if it's somebody's driveway, it's gonna be plowed a little bit more quickly. My driveway's going at the very end of that, and we haven't lived there yet, so I've never had, the issue with it. And then this is the plan. And actually, this was informed a little bit by Nick Schaefer and some of the city engineers and who helped us to demarcate it so there wouldn't be issue in the future if there was a, discussion about driveways. It's gonna be a shared driveway, and that's why we've brought in Ron to put that, and make that clear. So hopefully that's clear. If anyone has any further questions.
Yeah, I definitely think there are some questions.
Okay.
Yes.
If I could just add to it, so, just so we're clear, I know there's reference to being a road, it will no longer be a road. This would, if it's vacated, it is private property at that point. So I know there's loose comments that that this will be an improved road. It's no longer, that's a driveway now.
Oh, yeah, there's no question.
So I just want to make that clear. So if the city goes through and vacates it, they're correct, half goes to either side, that's great. How they improve it, this is a plan what they would like to do, but that would be between them if they end up doing it. So this is, we had great meetings with both of these. I was part of all that, and we kind of helped go through that process. But just on a procedure, city manager said that this could be done tonight as a resolution. In the past, and what we've indicated to the applicants, we'll call them applicants, the neighbors, that it's most likely that council would set this for a public hearing, just to give, and they wanted to be great neighbors and to let they've done a lot of good work about getting neighbors informed, but to have the city go ahead and do their 300 feet everywhere from there, and to go through the regular public hearing process, that would be advisable. And at some point, if city, there's some things that they have to do yet, so if it gets to that point, it would end up being contingent on certain things, one being, the survey, the easement to be retained for the stormwater utility. But at my request, I said, just don't go through that expense yet, because, you should get city council to say yes, that they're willing to do that before you start paying architects and surveys and so forth. So that's down the road at the next one, assuming this goes positive at this point. But I would say, just from a procedural, city council may consider setting it for a public hearing at its next available. And we discussed that possibility.
Yeah,
and I did have a resolution, and I did put what a resolution would look like, because your charter lets you do this. So if you're looking for the authority, your charter 6.8 allows you to vacate roads, and so there's a resolution. It has to be done by resolution, and so I put together a draft one, so you at least know what it looks like, a month in advance. So.
My input would be for the public hearing, because we have already received public comment. So I think it's only fair to let it be as a public hearing. I guess my other question is, so then it becomes private. So a citizen walking down there, this is private property.
We'd have an easement for that, yeah. Well, that's what.
No, well, that would be up to them. If they have a pedestrian, the easement then the city would require would be a
Just
utility easement.
for the utilities, yeah.
Now, they show on that picture that asphalt walkway. That's what that's what they've been discussing doing, is having a private easement, so people can go up and down that and have an access to get to the park area. But that would be up to them.
But if I can make it clear.
Agreed.
And that would be, certainly in the documents, that, and as you said, this is a rendering, but we would make it clear that we don't want to cause any disharmony. Betty's been there for years. Yeah, and so we would include that in the description.
Good.
Okay, we do have some council
Sure.
questions.
Sure.
We do questions now, right? We can do-
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
Council-
You go first.
Well, this is of particular interest to me, and I do appreciate you coming forth and understand the reasoning. And I would understand just paving it, just having the city pave it. They did an alley that I know, a little section with the same problem. And then it would be continuing to be used actively by the Rochester residents as a pedestrian walkway, connecting the neighborhood to all the work that the city's done with the skate park, the community garden, the Sugar Maple Grove and the mini forest. So yeah, bicycles could still go through there. And what I'm having to struggle with, if you have people coming onto your private property, therein lies a bigger problem. So would there be signs for people to understand that this is open to the public, and or they're in your side yard? And really, if it's just.
They already do that.
Yeah, so I mean, my thoughts would be a better option would be the city just to pave it and fix it. That way, it would solve everyone's problems. And the other thing is, how much is it worth? I don't know. How many people go through there? And you're saying a lot do. I just came to look at it the other day because I didn't know it was there, and I was so excited to see it. And there are people just walking through, so they're used to it.
There are people that walk their dogs on a daily basis. They walk their children. Kids bike through there. It they've been doing that since I've been there.
And it seems like what you're wanting it is to look better.
Well, yes, and if I can address some of your points, when I talked to Betty originally, you know, there was access issues, and the maintenance of the property is a real issue, plus the cost of whatever you're going to do for the property. So if you know, if we propose that the city of Rochester do this, there's going to be costs. This is gonna be in the neighborhood of $50,000 to $75,000 to improve this property in the way that we are doing it. We're going to bear those costs, and we will provide, we've already, you know, I mean, obviously this is a request, but we've already, you know, agreed to the easements both for the city and for the public right of way in the manner that is being set forth there. So to, you know, I guess, and to all of the neighbors that we've talked to, and I guess, you know, what you can do a better sense is, it was a sort of a win-win, because you had this property that wasn't being maintained and it wasn't improved, and we intended to do both at no cost to the city, so.
Yes, and I understand that, but in perpetuity, when does it end? You sell the property to someone else? I mean, and then, and does someone forget? Are there signs that are gonna say no trespassing eventually, you know?
Well,
I
we
mean,
certainly could put up any signs that the city would want. I believe.
But, so I don't understand why we would do this when really we could just pave it, in my opinion. But that's my opinion, and you know, that looks like some brick pavers are in there, but probably better than an asphalt, so.
It's gonna run with the property, so to answer your question about, is this gonna be just for sort of, you know, for us or for Betty, it's just gonna run indefinitely, just like the easement to the city, you know, with the property. So the city will get, you know, the revenue for that, and there will be access that will continue with the property, because, and Ron can describe this better.
There's gonna be a driveway easement between a homeowners and a maintenance agreement, and we could even provide for that sidewalk going down the side of the road. That shouldn't be a problem at all.
And that'll run with the property, so there will be full access, just as there is now.
Councilmember
The
Clausen.
neighborhood will just keep doing what they've been doing for years unless there is a sign posted that says no trespassing. And even then, there are some neighbors that I know would do it.
Do it anyway.
Right, I'm just not.
Councilmember Clauser.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting discussion, and I think, you know, I appreciate the residents bringing it to our attention. I think, to me, it raises broader questions about how we think about really unused or underutilized city parcels. If you go to 34, I do have a couple of questions real quick.
Sure. This one?
Yep, so this is the property we're talking about.
Correct, that's the property.
Who owns this property? Is that ours?
Oh, go back
Yeah.
this way. Don't move it.
The parks, right?
Yeah, there's your community garden, it's right, yeah. And then the Sugar Maple Grove, yeah.
Go
Maple
back
Sugar
down,
Grove.
That's all ours.
Yeah, so this is all ours, this connecting, and
Yep.
then this is your property, sir?
That's correct.
You own it, or are you developing it? I thought it was, when I drove by, it was being developed.
Well,
Is that-
we own it, the house, and you can see it, it's being built. So we own the house, but it's under construction.
Are you planning on living there, or are you selling it?
No, we're living there.
Oh, that's gonna be your,
Yeah,
like,
and
residence?
it's an Oak Street designed house, so there's full disclosure, because the person that also lives down the street, Jenna Campbell, her company is the designer of the home.
She's also on our planning commission.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Okay, my other question is, if you go back up, so if this, is the home complete, because you're adding property, so are you gonna go back for renovations to expand your development and what you're building if it's not completed yet, or is it completed?
It's not completed, and so the house is, you know, if you drove by, you could see it's,
That's a good
you know, they
question.
just, you know, finished putting up some of the, you know, the doors and things like that. The move-in date, we are moving there, we live behind,
Yeah.
you know, Stony Creek Ridge now. We are moving there in August of 2026, this year. It's a Bloomingdale house, and Bloomingdale's developing the house. John Bloomingdale, he's developed other homes in this area, and it was a house that it was an older home that Benny knew the neighbor, and they bought it and scraped it. We didn't have anything to do with
Yeah.
that. We bought it as a spec house, and we'll be moving in.
Where I'm going with that is that adds significant footage to your property. And is the intention then to go back and do any kind of adjustments then to your development, or is to add on to your footprint of your house or anything like that?
Not gonna change, that's it right there.
Well, the footprint, just to be clear, there's one area, and again, we can't do anything unless and until, we go forward with this, but there's an opening for an area of a porch there that is in between. And that would be something that we're looking at. We wouldn't do anything like that unless and until, if there were more property that were there for it.
Sure.
And so.
Yeah, so a couple of things. I think, I think the biggest thing for me is right now, to me, it seems like an underutilized public space because it does look like a great connection point to all these city amenities. And once it goes to private, whether you tell us or agree that there's an easement now, or you'll put up signs that say you can walk through here, and I think that can change. It's no longer public property. So even if we completely agree and have commitments from you guys, if you change ownership, that changes. So I'm thinking more of like strategically in the future for the city. And I would say I'm not necessarily opposed to the request itself, but I just don't feel ready to really narrow the conversation to only this one option before we really understand the broader context and possibilities of this space. Like Councilmember Trent said, it could be something that the city takes care of. I mean, you brought this to our attention. I definitely feel like we could do something about it. Maybe it becomes a green space. Maybe it becomes, again, a driveway or a pedestrian walkthrough, and maybe not a road, or I'm not sure the possibilities.
Because they're driveways.
Okay, so maybe a paved road or something. I like the design. I love your picture on 36. So I don't feel comfortable moving it to a public hearing because I think we need to understand all of the options that we have as a city to maintain it and update it and exhaust those options. And once we feel there's a reason we can't serve you in the right way, then I think what you've presented in front of us is a really interesting option for us to consider. So,
Mayor Pro Tem was next.
Yeah.
I'll go down.
I'm familiar with that area now more because of the bike detour. It's a beautiful area, and I think it looks like a beautiful home. So thank you for investing in our city. But I have to say, I kind of agree. This is the first we've heard of this, that this is something. So yeah, there's a lot of options for the city to look at. We could make it into a park, we could pave it, we could do a lot of things. So I would not be willing to go to a public hearing now, or would vote for that. And I'd like to see the city, Nick, come up with some ideas for us. And again, if all of them are bad and this is the best idea, maybe. But I'd like to see some other options as well.
Did you want?
Councilmember King.
Yeah, I had, it's funny, I was walking by here about a week ago as I go through the new trail and I come back through the subdivision, and I looked at the home and I was like, wow, wouldn't it be great if you could buy this piece of property next door and combine it? So I literally had this idea as like a homeowner. I get why it's attractive and why you want to do it. And I think this is a beautiful, presentation. My question is more for city attorney. I want to understand, so if there's the easement, one for the utilities, and then if they were to provide a second easement for a public access, are those forever in perpetuity? How could those be changed and potentially risk losing, especially the public access, should one of the homeowners look to sell in the future?
Sure, yeah. So if these are public easements, they can't go away. They run with the land because we're the benefited party is the city. So as with any stormwater or any type of easement that the city gets, there's nothing that the property owner could do to wipe that out without us saying, okay. So if it's a utility easement and a public walkway easement that they would be giving, a future owner is bound by it. That gets recorded with the Register of Deeds, they're on notice. It's just like any other easement that the city has. No one can destroy that.
Okay, and then, sorry, two more things. So the second question, in a typical situation with vacated land, do we typically just give the land? I understand there's a benefit of one, we don't have to maintain it, which I've seen it. We don't do a whole lot with this property. It's gravel and grass. It's kind of messy. So there is a benefit to the city financially from doing that, and then also the tax benefit. But would we typically just give the land, or do we typically charge for the land?
No, so the way, when you vacate it, it just, as a matter of law, it just goes away. And both sides, it goes right, the line goes right down the middle. Half goes to the south parcel, half goes to the north parcel.
We can't sell it, right?
You can't sell without a vote of the people.
Without a vote of the people.
Right, this is just this isn't like we have a pocket park over here that we just want to get rid of. This is actually specific for like streets and alleys.
Okay.
That's,
I've seen it with like the alleys around our home, some of the next block. The city's vacated them and
Yep.
they've gone to all the property
yeah,
owners.
that's not a sale, that's not a money change hands. It's just the city is no longer going to own it, and the two adjacent parcels own half of it.
Okay. And then the third one, I do think it is warranted that to hear from city administration, before like making a decision, while I really like this and I see the appeal for the homeowners, and I do think that they deserve a better access to their driveways, looking at that winter, I feel for you trying to get to your driveway and the condition of it, but I do think that administration should give us kind of the potential, the view, should we maintain this? Obviously, if you're bringing it to us, I think that says something, but I do think it is worth, hearing from administration specifically on that.
Councilmember, so I think actually
You go first.
Hauser was next.
Oh, sure, okay, so a couple of things. First of all, I think what you have presented is a very well-done plan, okay? And I'm thinking this just from an economics perspective. If we have a dead-end road, can't drive your car down to go anywhere because there's a fallen tree or some utility pole. So it serves no real purpose for vehicular traffic, right? Clearly, it's not been maintained for many, many years. And the idea is that if it's a road, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, we can't just convert it to a park. So that's not an option, right? So, right, so we talked about, hey, can we make it green space? No, you can't, it's a road.
Well,
So-
and their driveways.
That's right, so we're never gonna make it green.
It can't be green.
Okay, so then it turns to, all right, do we wanna make an improvement? Well, it's probably gonna cost at least $100,000 if the city wants to take money out of its pocket to improve it. Alternatively, we have two residents who want to take it from us, spend their own money to improve it, which would enhance it, which would generate tax revenue for us, which would take a burden off the city's hands. They've agreed in principle, I'd have to look at the documents, but to make it continue to be accessible to the public to go into the park that is at the dead end, which isn't accessible by a car. So I guess what I would want to just make sure is, number one, to Ms. King's point, is that the public obviously has notice. So anyone within the surrounding area that is required to be notified, any other zoning change or whatever, we do that. Number two is I would want assurance through an easement that runs with the land that it is going to remain open to the public and that runs with the land. So when either one of you decide to sell or move on, it doesn't matter who takes that property, they're buying it subject to those restrictions on easement, which people do every single day through title policies. Third is, I would want to make certain that your proposed development isn't going to be built inside of that vacated street.
Well, it is.
No, it's not. It's going to be.
No, we're not going in.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're not doing it.
But you can't build your porch unless you get this extra property, correct?
Yeah,
Because you don't have enough side
We don't have
yard.
enough.
It's a setback issue.
Based on the plan that the builder has provided, there is a porch.
There is a
going in.
porch.
Right.
It is a pergola.
You can't put a roof over the porch because of the lot percentages.
Percentage coverage.
Yeah, but there is no
Right.
expansion of
Yeah.
the width of the build.
There's no footing, there's no part of your house that's going to be in this vacated road.
Correct.
Right. It's just for a setback issue
That's right.
and coverage issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
I suppose you could get a variance, but I'm just saying, but nevertheless, the idea is that you're prepared to enter into an agreement that says this vacated road, once it's becomes your property, will become and continue to be accessible by the public.
Yes, that's the.
That's
that
the
is
idea.
Okay,
Okay.
Councilmember
You've answered my
Sally.
question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have two questions. One is currently, does the city know the status of any underground here? Do we got water pipes under here?
There's a storm sewer.
Storm sewer,
That's what
and
these
we have been maintaining that.
Correct.
And we would still be able to maintain that.
Correct.
Okay. It's one. Secondly, the pretty picture on page 36, if this were to go forward, city administration, could that be required to go to planning commission? Like, we all like the way that looks, but
Just landscaping.
what if we don't really get that? So we can't, there's nothing we can stipulate with this to say, subject to like, planning commission site plan approval?
Yeah, you could.
It's resident, single-family residential, so it wouldn't go there. That doesn't mean we can't figure, we can noodle how that can be, I'll say guaranteed, something like that, but I know this is a rendering, it's not a,
Right, it's a pretty picture.
So it's a pretty picture, and I have no doubt that they would do something this or similar to it, but that would take some thought to try to figure out how to do that, but it wouldn't go to planning commission.
Okay. And I guess my other comment is it's really nice to see two neighbors before us happy and working together. A lot of times we see it the other way. So happy to meet all of you tonight.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. So how much footage is being gained? It'd be the same for each house.
It would be 25 feet.
By 160, so.
Well, right.
It's getting 25 feet.
So, yeah, I guess more information be, what is the actual value that will add, to what you're proposing? And then what would prevent you from just putting a fence up at the end and a little gate where you can't have bicycles going through it? Like you could close it off at the end, and I don't believe it's a fallen tree. I believe they put it there for,
Telephone pole that.
they never
I
moved.
believe someone in the city put it down there to.
It was to block the cars.
Yeah, that's what it was. When you keep saying it was there, it was intentional, even though, that was the old way that the city used to take and repurpose things, yes.
People used to try
Right,
to drive
yeah.
through to the community garden.
Yeah, so, yeah,
That's what people would potentially drive through, I think.
I would think, so something would need to be put up to, it's not gonna be a fence or a gate, like, because you can do whatever you want at that end of that, at that drive.
More like a road.
I think, to Christian's point, if they had the legal easement, they wouldn't be able to block
can't
people
obstruct
from
it.
going.
Yeah.
They couldn't obstruct the public from going.
So the other thing is, I am a bit conservative about, no offense, giving public land to two homeowners when it's servicing a whole neighborhood. So that's my statement.
If I could just respond to some of the comments, because we've been talking, with the, obviously with the administration, part of the thing to figure out these things about whether the city could improve these. I know Betty has, for many years, talked to the city about maintenance of it, and we were understanding that the property couldn't be sold. We're not trying to get something, for free or something like that. That was our understanding, is that it couldn't be sold, and we understood that it couldn't be made into a park or improved by the city in any meaningful way. We thought it would be a win-win for the city, for the residents, for the other projects that are going on. And to answer your questions, City or Councilmember Clauser, we intended this to be permanent, and it would run with the land, and that it would prevent us or any other owner. This would be conditional. Mr. Crate has done a draft of a legal description of the easement that would, nobody could build on any of this stuff. We couldn't put a structure, on this, and we could maybe make that more clear, to your point, Councilmember Hauser. And in terms of what would go at the end of it, it's hard to see there. Actually, Jenna Campbell did this original rendering, but there are a couple of rocks at the end there, so that you couldn't drive through it, but that it would be fully accessible, because I understood that from Nick Banda and Nick Schaefer that they wanted full access if they needed to go and get it, through that. So it was intended to be a win-win. I think having anybody weigh in on it is, a good idea. We haven't heard anyone that objects to it. We've heard a lot of people that say they think it's a good idea, but
I just have one more statement. Also the liability, what is the liability if you have people, like somebody falls off their bike, what insurance, what is it, do they understand that they can't sue the private owners?
No, well, they They could sue it's on private property.
Premises liability
We
issue.
would be,
That's on them.
we would be assuming, and that's the other thing that I think is important, we're assuming tax liability and liability. Because if the sidewalks aren't maintained, and just like our front sidewalk, then those are the responsibility of the property owners. And so we intended to, part of this is I want Betty to be able to get up her driveway. And also, we're gonna plow the walks, too. And so that will be the responsibility.
Be no different if someone slipped on your driveway.
So I just have one comment. I think what I'm struggling with a little bit is, and it is a win, and you're spending a lot of money to make it look beautiful, and I do walk through with my golden retriever, so, I think what is concerning to me is that we are giving for free to two property owners land. And
taxes on it.
I get that. I'm just saying, for other citizens that, I'm just thinking in a broader sense, right? Does that make sense? What I'm kind of challenged on is that making that decision, it is a big decision for us. And you're gaining 25 feet for both of your properties, which is increasing the value of property, which is why we're going to get more tax revenue. So that's really what I'm processing. That's beautiful. It's definitely
And that's
better than
fair.
it looks right
The
now.
point you make is fair, and I looked at it, it probably will be 75 or 100. I thought it was a bit of an exchange of us doing, work on that property to improve it. And yeah, the city would get the taxes, as
Right.
well. And that's
Yeah, and it is, it's,
Good way to
You're
look
not
at
really
it.
giving it for free because you're saving $100,000.
well, we probably would not ever do
That sounds like government talk.
quite that thing, but I didn't realize that we hadn't been caring for it,
Yeah, I
to be
didn't
honest.
either.
But
This is all new.
that's been really heard here today, is that the city has not been caring for that, so.
Well, and I think Betty, and this is maybe past, administrations had called multiple times and been told.
This year, I had to call twice. I think I fell off the wagon, so to speak. They forgot about me.
Which is obviously not,
No.
that is not acceptable.
When we moved in there, it always got plowed. In the springtime, it always got graded. And in the summertime, when it was dry and dusty, they always put chlorine on the roadway. They haven't done that probably in 20-plus years. They basically plow it when there's 3 inches or more snow.
So access to her, and us
Of course.
is important.
Yeah, the access, it's a big piece for you too, and I get that. I do. Our next steps, I think, are I do absolutely think we have to have a public hearing. I think that would be, so can we set that?
Even with a public hearing, I would suggest you do that so you can get other people. Because if everybody comes out screaming, you would kill it that route. But if they don't, that doesn't mean you have to make a decision that night. You could still say no, but you would get the public
Decide the
input.
night of the public hearing.
Yeah, you should set the
So,
public hearing.
It gives us time to still gather some thought around it and get the public's thought.
All right, so to that end, I'll make a motion to set this matter for a public hearing at the next available meeting or when otherwise scheduled by the city administration.
So we will, actually, we need a second.
Wait, I'm not, I got a question. Wait.
Are you
somebody else
seconding
needs
it?
to-
Okay.
I'll second it.
I think we already have a second. We have 3 seconds for that motion. So,
You just need a third and fourth.
So,
did you want more discussion on this?
one more question,
Okay.
please. So, does that mean that people are notified in?
Just like any other public
300
hearing.
feet or whatever, it's just
Yeah,
like,
just like-
but how are they notified? Are they specifically notified?
Yeah,
or is
they
it
get a mail.
Get a letter in the mail.
Individual letter.
The individuals of the neighborhood, okay.
Jeez, okay, Mayor Pro Tem.
So are we gonna have the city's various proposals by that?
We don't have, this is our recommendation. We want to vacate the road because we don't want to take care of it anymore, let them do it, so.
Well, but we just said we want other proposals.
But
Are we gonna have those to?
Tell us what you would like and we could do
Well,
anything, but
we want options.
Pave it, what does it cost to maintain
it's a
it every
sewer.
year? What are our
Underneath it,
options?
we can't do anything. We can't build anything on it. All we can do is that, pave it. And put a sidewalk.
So we want to know the cost.
There's no other options.
But could you give us the cost
That's not
to pave the road?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Again, public hearing doesn't mean you have to make a decision.
Right.
It's just you're trying to
Just
get
more
more people
discussion.
to discuss, and then we can wait another
Right.
year. It doesn't-
But, and I think that your point is a really important one, Councilmember Sully, with regard to, because we're doing a lot more than paving. We're gonna put a path in there, and we're gonna landscape it, and we're gonna put rocks and other things. So I think in fairness, what would be important to know would be, because if the city wants to do this fine.
No, we would just pay it.
If that's, if they want to do this, so what I would really request would be, that there would be an estimate at least of whatever the cost is that would be borne by the city for whatever is being proposed to do. And if it's just paving it, I guess that's
Yeah,
fine
that's what we wanna
too,
know.
if that's what you want to look at.
Councilmember Sylvia.
So kind of tying into that, if we set the public hearing, Attorney Kroc, could you also speak to the kind of the approval process if they were to be able to move forward with the pretty picture? At the public hearing, not tonight?
Yes, oh, yeah. for sure.
Okay, I just want to make sure that was
Just so we can
part
say
of
the
this.
easement and of
And
this.
talk
Bring
about
that.
easement documents, runs with zoning.
Easement.
Okay,
And, like,
I
how
think
do we
we've
approve
got
it?
it first. Okay.
Okay,
Councilmember
so
Trent.
do we need to add an amendment to request the city to give us a cost to pave it?
No, what
Okay.
we're gonna do is, we can do an AI picture like that with a proper 22-foot wide paved strip with the sidewalk on one side of it on our property and come up with a cost estimate.
Perfect.
That's all we
Need
do.
a sidewalk.
What's that?
We don't need a sidewalk.
Well, you don't want people walking in the road. I don't think we want that liability. If we're gonna pave it
Just
for a
to be
driveway.
clear, what we would do, maybe it's not that, but the city council, and what my sense is, we're asking for what it would cost to pave, and you're saying put a sidewalk, or what, that looks like
And
asphalt.
we can't, we
That's not-
never
is that a
let
sidewalk?
people, you can't walk down the middle of the road. That would be a road now to the end, so their private driveways can go. We have to do something, grade it or pave it, one or the other. Because they have a right to that, a road that's done properly. And we don't have gravel roads in town, so it's gonna have to get paved. And then Nick will come up with an estimate in a day. We'll get you that.
But not, we're not putting brick pavers in.
No.
Okay, I just want to be clear what the city's offering.
It would just be
So we have something to look at and,
Sure.
a benchmark.
We can do that.
All right, roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Clauser,
No.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
No.
Okay, so
We'll be back.
Motion
with-
passes.
we'll get back, thank you for bringing this and for all the detail, and we'll get back to you with the date for the public hearing.
Okay.
We'll just look at the next agenda. I assume it'll be in June.
Yeah,
It has
we
to be
need,
in June.
we need so many
Yes.
days to advertise in the paper.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And thank
Thank
you for
you.
being a resident for so long. Jeez. She beats me. Okay. Okay, here, this is, the mayoral nominations to boards and commissions. We don't have city council. Both of these are the mayoral. So I would like, do I have to do them separately probably for a vote? I do. Okay, I would like to nominate to the Cemetery Advisory Board, Martha DeMiro. Do I have
So moved.
support? So, okay, support, or, and support by Marilyn. I've lost myself on that. Okay, we get to take a vote on that.
Cemetery?
Cemetery.
Cemetery,
Cemetery.
Jones,
yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Second would be for City Beautiful Commission. I would like to nominate Carrie Briskin for that position. Do I have a motion? Motion with
I will,
Councilmember Hauser?
yes, motion to nominate Carrie Briskin to the cemetery, yes.
City
Oh, I'm sorry, City Beautiful, I'm sorry, I was thinking.
We do need someone else for cemetery.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
She wants to do that one too, she said, yeah.
Yes. And support?
I'll support.
Support, Councilmember Clauser, roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Vixen,
Yes.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
They will be both notified and will hopefully attend the next meeting for both of those. Okay, next, we're going to have Chief George yep, he's back there. Come up to talk about consideration, what?
Yell it out.
I just had a question. We have a couple of vacancies, right? Didn't we?
We're going to do it at the next meeting.
Okay.
I should have said that, and I actually wrote a note there, and I forgot to say it. We have a bunch of renewals that have to happen, we have a bunch of vacancies. I have to sit down with Megan and go through all of it, and then at the next meeting, there will be a lot.
Okay, but there were more, we have another vacancy both for cemetery.
understand that,
Okay, just wanted to make sure I understood.
So you can find some people.
No, there's two people that
Well,
are
there's
on the-
people that were
It had
interested.
to do with a delay for some applications that came in quite a
Yes.
while ago.
Got it.
So I felt it was sort of in interest to do it as quick as possible.
No
But
problem.
yes, no, I agree. I have a lot to work to do on boards and commissions, and we will at the next meeting, because we're supposed to do it in May. So at the next meeting, they will all be done. but we still have openings. So please have anyone you know look at the openings. All right.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
It's been a long day.
Has anyone looked at the Pistons score?
I did, high score.
So I'm here this evening, Council, for this PSAP adoption agreement. This is kind of two parts. One will be,
We're going to leave that pretty picture up for your whole
yeah, that
presentation.
was nice. This is more of an informational report.
Okay.
I'm sure all of you read the
Yeah, we did.
240-page contract, which was, by the way, reviewed by our city attorney. Mr. Crott he had a few questions, and we had that clarified to the county. It is a long contract, however, I'm gonna do my best in the next 5 minutes. I will explain, what's going on here. So we have this PSAP adoption agreement for our 911, and also there's gonna be a interlocal agreement coming up, through the county. We have a current, actually, it's an agreement signed in 2016, before my time. We have a interlocal agreement through the county for 911. That's gonna be updated. That could be maybe in the next month, maybe two. The only thing that has to be updated is the new technology that the county's gonna place on there. So, in a nutshell, the county's 911 system is outdated. They have old equipment. They have contract with Carbine Incorporated. It's a company, public safety technology company, cloud-based out of New York. They're gonna contract with them. And because we are a PSAP, a public safety answering point, we have to comply with the county. So basically, in the big picture, the county is the one holding the contract, and all the PSAPs, there's 20 of them in Oakland County, we have to follow all the terms and conditions of the contract. This is a mandated thing, because we did sign the interlocal agreement. All the PSAPs shall have all the same equipment. That just enhances security and efficiency, and we all want to be on the same board. We all want to have the same equipment, and it goes with the same type of training. This new technology, honestly, it's superior. We will have a superior 911 system. For instance, I'll give you a couple things. So if you're hearing impaired, you'll have the ability to contact our dispatch through text. If you're in a domestic violence situation and you can't get on the phone, you have the opportunity to text our dispatch. You can send photos, you can send videos to our dispatch center. If there's let's say we had an explosion on Main Street and you call dispatch, you would be able to send through a link, a secured link, and it's all voluntary, to our dispatch. It would go on the screen, the photo or the video. We can see what's going on. We can assess the situation better, allocate the proper resources. If you, let's say you call dispatch and you can't speak English, the system will pick up 30 different languages. Let's say we have an accident at Maine University, and there's 100 phone calls coming in at once with one dispatcher. Obviously, that dispatcher won't be able to answer all 100 calls at the same time. This is where the AI technology comes in. It triangulates where the calls are coming from, the date, the time, and the individual that's calling. They will get a message that help is on the way. So there's a lot of positive things. One of the negative things is, obviously, everything comes with a cost. This particular system for the first year is $77,032.30. That's a one-time cost. Years 2 through 5, because this is a 5-year contract, there's a cost of $32,212.93 each of those years. So the total cost for 5 years is $205,084.03. The first payment is due as soon as the contract is executed. We'd have to lay down 45%, which is $34,664.53. The remainder of the balance has to be paid by February 1st, 2027, and we will receive annual invoices from Carbine every February 1st. So it would be easy to budget. So the main thing is, this is a mandate because we do have our own public safety answering point. The county holds the master contract. We have to abide by that contract because of the current interlocal agreement that we're involved in, and it's pretty straightforward. But the main thing is we will have an outstanding 911 system. We have a good one right now, but this is even better. So I don't know if Mr. Crott, if you had anything to add based on your review of the contract?
Councilmember Trent?
Yes, you and I spoke a little bit earlier, and we were talking about the AI component.
Yes.
So I'm assuming AI isn't now going to answer any 911 calls at our police department.
Here's the thing that you have to understand. We don't want to get rid of our dispatchers. AI is just a feature, and actually, one thing I should explain, that $77,000 is the standard package. That's where we're going with. Once we get acclimated with the program, the dispatchers get used to it, we can look at some of the optional things. It's like buying a car. Do you want leather? You don't want leather. There's a lot of options here. One of the AI tools is, it's an option. So we wouldn't go to that at first. You know, I like to get the dispatchers' input. But the main thing is, AI is not making decisions. And the only thing that would be involved in is if we had 100 phone calls at once, it could pick up the calls. Once the dispatcher types in accident Main University, if someone calls 911, and as soon as they say there's an accident, it's already gonna let them know that, hey, somebody's en route. This way the dispatcher can stay focused with the call. But yeah, we're getting the standard package here. We're not gonna add any features for now. And if we do, I'll come back. But some of these are reasonable, but the main thing you have to know is that the AI portion doesn't make the decisions. The dispatcher makes the decisions. It's just, this one feature just assists with the phone calls.
So you're saying it's improved? What is that part of the improvement?
That's an option that we can go, it's only, I want to say it's $1,300. It's $3,600 a year if we wanted to add that on. But again, I like to see how this works first before we get into some of these options. And then I can get a lot of feedback from the dispatchers. We may not have this for another year.
Okay.
You know, the goal is 10 to 12 months, but who knows? I mean, you know, they tell you one thing and it's always different. So, yeah.
So yet again, the data stays with you guys in
Yes.
your department?
Well,
Or your
no, that's
dispatcher?
different. I mean,
Because it's
no,
going through their
Carbine,
system.
They have their own, what are these, Amazon?
EWS government.
That's what the government uses. It's a very secured site. And trust me, the county, they have a phenomenal 911 board. They do their homework. So they've done a lot of homework on this. So,
Okay.
and their siege is compliant. The Carbine, they have to follow the same cyber rules that we do. We get tested. We have to test every year, all our employees. There's a lot involved with that, but yeah, it's a very secured site.
Okay, thanks.
Councilmember Clauser.
When you say it's mandated by the county, there's like a mandated standard package, is that what you're saying, that we have to have?
It's, the package isn't mandated, but the equipment, the basic equipment is mandated. That's through our interlocal agreement.
And what if we don't, then
We could probably be booted. They could suspend our contract.
And does that come with those AI features, that standard mandated package, or
No.
that's the add-on that we could do
That's an add-on.
after the fact?
That's an add-on. And honestly, I like to get feedback from other PSAPs to see how it's working.
Yeah.
Because maybe that's not what we need here. You know, certain cities that are larger, they have a higher call volume or a higher crime rate. They may need these options more than we need. We may just get away with just the basic package here. But again, I would like to see how this goes. And we could take another 2 years before we change our mind, but I think we should test the waters a little bit before we, you know, start ordering other options here, because other cities may not like the AI package. I don't know if it will work for us, but.
Yeah, I was gonna say, similar to, the budget tool discussion, I think whenever we adopt kind of these emerging technologies, especially the AI ones, data collection, public safety, right, policy and governance should accompany this information. Is that something we have to do, or is the county helping us with the policies or how, like the governing documents, guidelines?
The county has their own policy, and again, we follow their policy, the terms and conditions. However, let's say we did get the AI tools, I would want our own policy on what types of incidents can a dispatcher ask for video. Remember, this is voluntary. Who has access to this? What kind of training are we gonna get? What's the retention and destruction period? So if we did get this, we would definitely have our own separate policy for that.
Thank
Yes.
you. Yep, that's helpful.
My question would be, I'm sorry, Councilmember Sullivan, is this data shared? I think I'm confused by that part of the discussion.
Data meaning,
Is what you gather, I mean, because everybody's worried about AI.
like if you send a video,
Yeah, is there anything that? It's not on. Oh, not on.
if you voluntarily sent us a video, we use it as a supplemental report to our investigation, that could be construed as public information that is foilable. However, we would redact that information just like we do everything else with our body worn cameras, our in-dash cameras, that would all be redacted. So if there's any sensitive information on there, like a license plate or maybe a minor's face, that would all be blurred out. We would treat it like any other FOIA regarding video.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. To me, this is something certainly we have to do.
Yes.
We need, 911 is our front line. And so it's something we need to do. The 3 AI features, I think it's smart to go slow with them because, think about, Siri on your phone. My husband has an Android. His Siri is great. I have an Apple Siri. She doesn't know anything. So I think it's smart. She's listening. I know, she's listening. And she's going to be mad at me. So I do think it's smart to go slowly on the implementation of those, but I'm also in support of the AI. These 3 features, AI translation, call triage, and responder connect, could be very life-saving technologies. So I think it's smart to go slowly, but certainly I support this.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hauser.
Sure. So, Chief, I want to kind of go back just a little bit, and you've used the word mandate a couple times, and I want to make sure I understand this clearly. So maybe a year, 18 months ago, all of us, except maybe Jessica, approved that we go into this this group of the county, and we're all going to be bound by the same system, right?
Yes.
And part of that agreement is that the county then mandates and directs what local police departments are required to use, so it's a uniform system, so city to city can talk to one another, correct?
Correct.
And the county has said, hey, Rochester, or any other municipality that has a PSAP, you're gonna use the carbine program or system, right?
Correct.
And they said, here it is. They picked it. We did not have anything to do with that, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And so the county already picked these people, and they said, here you go, and we don't really have a choice to go with a different vendor, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so, and I think councilperson, maybe it was Ms. King or someone on the other side, said, what happens if we don't? We effectively, would lose our 911 capabilities?
We have to probably search for a different company, but the thing is, what's nice about being involved in this network with the 20 PSAPs in the county is we're all getting the same training.
Right.
We all use the same equipment. And then if there's opportunity to improve the equipment, the county could possibly get better grants than we can.
Right.
And it just doesn't make sense to have our own PSAP here, and we're not in the same network with all the other agencies.
Well, I agree, and the reason that we did it, we got onto that big inter-agreement was because we didn't want to be on an island. And
Correct.
that every city was, for all intents and purposes, standalone, and there was a breakdown in communication. So again, I appreciate that there might be some issues with Carbine, or it could be Company X, it doesn't matter, but I just want to make sure I understand, we don't have a choice.
In this situation, that is correct.
Okay.
We are following a 2016 interlocal agreement, and right in there it says that we shall have the same equipment.
Right.
And if there's any deviations, then, they could possibly suspend our contract. And again, I will be up here again in a month or two with the updated agreement, and that will incorporate all the new technology that's involved. Everything stays the same, but they're gonna add on the technology.
And just to be clear, I'm sorry, one final question. It's kind of like a menu here in front of us, like you check the boxes. This is just a standard subscription that you've got, the one time plus the hardware.
Right.
And then the years 2 and 5, those costs. But none of the AI boxes are checked, none of that other stuff. And if you did want to get that ultimately, you'd have to come before us and we would have a conversation, discussion about it, right?
Yeah, I would like you to know, I mean, even though it's under the dollar limit, I mean, I would still like to keep you informed that, hey, we're looking at this, you know, it's gonna cost $5,000 or $6,000 more. I mean, it's important that you know that.
I think with the sensitivities that are surrounding AI and the information, it'd probably be a good, you know,
Yes.
idea to come in front of us for that.
Yes, I
Okay,
agree.
thank you.
Before we vote, there's a resident that wants to make a comment.
Oh, go ahead.
So,
I was just gonna
Do you
make,
wanna do your comment
I was gonna
first?
make a motion.
Okay,
We can
we'll just
still
have to-
have comment after,
we
right?
have to wait, yep. So, Chief, we have a resident that wants to make a comment.
Sure.
So if you don't mind, you can go ahead and step up.
My name is Giuseppe, 2760 Rochester Hills. I'm a Norton Lawn. I'm an engineer in the automotive here.
Giuseppe.
I'm sorry that I'm doing this public comment too late. This is my first time, and so I learned for the next time. Thank you. Do you know who's behind Carbine? Who owns Carbine? Do you have any alternative to use Carbine or something else? Well, there are alternatives. What's important to know about Carbine is who owns it. Ex-intelligence officers of the IDF are the founders, the architects behind Carbine. And Carbine turns to be a software that is being used in scenarios that we'd rather not talk about because they involve genocide. They involve hurting people in other countries. Carbine used several Middle Eastern countries as a ground for testing the software that we want to pay to use in Rochester. Now, I think that it's quite controversial, and I think that this beautiful community would rather not associate with war crimes or crimes against humanity, or in this case, even mass surveillance in the West Bank, in Lebanon, you name it. You can just go online and check who's behind Carbines. The previous owner, the current owners are all ex-IDF intelligence officers that they became expert in mass surveillance. I will stop it right here because the second part that I really don't like about Carbine, and we should all think about it, is that the cloud that it's used pinpoints you immediately where you are, up to 10 feet. That information, it's not given to the police department unless requested, or in special cases. That information will always remain in the property of Carbine. It's in the cloud. You just need to send a text. The text has an IP or has a transmitting number. The number gets collected in the cloud by Carbine. Carbine knows where I am texting from. Carbine can communicate it to the police department, but then keeps it. Because if you think that they don't keep it, they do. So, tonight you have, in this point, I apologize again for getting here too late. Tonight we have, on point D, is thinking about if we want to move with Carbine or not. Well, I'm requesting you to think deeply about not moving. There are other options. I understand that if we want to change, it sounds like it's difficult, but we can look in something else that's already existing in the United States that would support 911 call and all the concerns that we had tonight. That's all I needed to add. Thank you for letting me speak this late.
Thank you.
We're not done yet.
Well, you need to come up to the podium and your name and address, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Taya Lyons. I'm actually in a neighboring community in Waterford, but I did speak to Commissioner Charlie Cavill today about the interlocal agreement, And the problem with that is Clemis is now handling 911 operations at the county level. So the county, if that's where you're contracting with, they can't be receiving that money. Clemis needs to receive that money as of February of this year. So do you know who you're paying for this? Secondly, let me just read to you this email because he explains it better than I do from quick reciting. I wasn't expecting to be able to comment really quick. Give me one moment, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. Clemis is now a separate authority from the county that has been in the news for breaking the law with unethical, specifically with contracts with Oakland County. Table this until you get clarification on who actually handles the next gen AI stuff. Is the payment going to the county or is it going to Clemis? If not, why not work directly with the Clemis authority? And according to Clemis's recent statement, all contracts are under review. So does that include the contracts with Oakland County and Rochester Police? The Clemis contract is what has the deliverables. So first of all, it might be worth tabling just to make sure you know who you're paying to what, because the county is no longer handling their 911 operations. So we shouldn't be putting this contract in through the county regardless. Secondly, there is an alternative. It's called Everbridge 360 that is developed in the US entirely. That's all.
Thank you, thank you. Come on up, state your name and your address, please.
I sat too long, you guys. Gotta speed this up. Patricia Kane, 817 West 4th Street, Rochester. There is a site that came out when all of this started, and it's on Facebook, and they were trying to rally people to be here to speak up against what we want for our police officers, for their safety, but for the safety of the community. It was targeted against us tonight for Carbine. There were 200 likes, hearts, yes, and I think about 18 or 20 comments. And most of them, when I started researching who these people were, did not even live in the community. This is a mandate from Oakland University, so if anybody, or Oakland County, if anybody has a problem with it, you take it up with the county. The county vetted everything. As a resident here for all my years, I will tell you this. I trust this city, I trust our consul, and I more than trust our police chief. They're doing right by us. Because as we get more calls for 911, it will be handled appropriately. It's not going to be put just on a hold as such. And what I care about, if I call 911, what I care about is I don't care how it is routed through. I care about the response because that makes all the difference in the world. We cannot extract ourselves from this contract as such. So if anybody has problems, go to Oakland County and take it up. And I think people need to stay off of Facebook with this rallying. We are in very turbulent times right now. And this debate has rallied against almost everything that's controversial coming up in this whole southeastern Michigan. And they're out there and they're asking for people to come outside of a community to weigh in what a community is doing. And I think that's a disservice to everybody in the community. Thank you.
Do you want to step back up, Chief? I don't think there's any other comments.
Thank you.
More comments questions from council?
I have a question for City Attorney, if that's okay. Mr. Crod, obviously my biggest concern is complying with the interlocal agreement that we all agreed to a year ago or so. And I guess if you could just give us a scenario, if there was reluctance or if this didn't pass, what are the ramifications for the city? I just want to be very, very clear, I understand.
I can't,
No.
I can't say that. I haven't compared to the interlocal agreement, what were the language. I mean, the chief just rattled off what the interlocal agreement required, which is to, I mean, we're part of, what is it, 26 communities, 16 communities that I have to, I'll defer to the chief on that because I think he's accurate.
Can I ask a question to the chief?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes,
I can read a little section, a couple sentences.
Yeah, please, and then, I'm going to have a follow-up.
So in the interlocal agreement, 2016, under 10.1, suspension of services, upon notice to the public body of the county's determination that the public body has failed to comply with federal, state, or local law or the requirements contained in this agreement, the county may immediately suspend this agreement, provided the notice contains a detailed description of the basis for the determination. Well, part of this agreement is we have to have the same equipment, all the PSAPs across Oakland County. That just makes absolute sense.
I get it. And the other thing too is, if we wanted to talk about this for another week or so, is there any harm to you or the police department if this were to get pushed back until the next meeting? I mean, is this something that has to be signed today?
I honestly, this is pretty straightforward. I would like to wrap this up tonight. You know, you can read Facebook all you want, and there's always somebody behind something.
Right.
I mean, you know, you don't know what to believe anymore, you know, but I have trust in the county and their board, the people that work there for years. You know, I've been talking to the 911 coordinator, you know, they know their stuff. You know, they're not gonna, you know, get in bed with a bunch of criminals. You know, we've never had problems with dispatch. In my entire career, I've never had an issue with our 911 system. And this is just a more enhanced system. You know, it's gonna continue to improve every year. And, you know, again, we're partners with 19 other public safety answering points. So at this point, you know, if you ask me, hey, could you do research on another 911 system? I would say no. That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
You know, we have the best people, you know, working on this. It's a superior system. The support is great. The training is great. I can't ask for anything better.
I'm not in a position to put our ability to have 911 at risk or our police department, and I understand the legal ramifications. So I'm just going to make a motion then to request, motion to approve the PSAP adoption agreement with the City of Rochester Police Department with Carbine Inc.
Motion by Hausner,
Support?
support by Salvia. Any other discussion? I guess, I mean, I'm in a little bit of a conflict right now over it now, that wanting to kick it to the next meeting. But I think where I just keep landing, and I think Councilmember Hauser's questions were important, there is no choice. This is what we have to use. This is what the county says. This is our agreement with county. And to your point, to lose any of our 911 abilities because we're not following the contract, I feel like there's no choice here.
We're partners. All 20 PSAPs, we're all partners. We all network with one another.
Madam Mayor, if I can, we all agreed, again, except for Jessica, because she wasn't on council at the time, we all agreed to enter into that interlocal agreement. And our number one obligation as a city council is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents. And I don't understand how any of us could have signed that agreement knowing what it obligates us to do and then not agree to follow through with that, particularly if it's going to compromise, suspend, and interfere with the 911 capabilities of our police department. It's black and white. We might not like it, but that's what we agreed to. I'll answer your question.
Thank you.
I understand what you're saying, but, well, if they tell us to drive over a cliff, is that what we have to do? I mean, you don't have to answer it. I'm just saying what you're.
But you're conflating something legal versus something illegal or reckless. That's a distinction here. This has been vetted by the county. They already entered into that agreement. Oakland County already agreed. We don't have a choice.
Clements controls 911 and they're not associated with Oakland County.
Okay. That's what.
Any other discussion? Councilmember King.
I think if it doesn't jeopardize us to wait one council meeting, I would prefer to wait one council meeting and give maybe those of us who don't have research on this, maybe we talk to the county, just understand their position as it relates to Clements. I don't think it would hurt to have a little bit more information before we make a decision, knowing that we are kind of limited in our decision-making, but I'd prefer to have a little more information.
Can we wait one more meeting? We won't jeopardize our 911 ability.
I don't believe so, but they want this wrapped up. I mean, every PSAP, all 20 have to sign this agreement.
I understand.
Everybody has to sign it.
I'm okay to kick it.
There's a motion, though.
Yeah.
So I made there's support, so I guess we would vote on the motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vote on that motion of voting on it tonight.
Yeah.
And then, well, wait a minute. Okay.
If there's a vote to table it, that would move ahead of the actual vote on the underlying. So if there's a motion to
Councilmember
table.
King, are you
I'd like
motioning to
to
table?
make a motion to table it till the next council meeting.
Support by Councilmember Trent. Okay, roll call.
Jones,
Yes.
Vixen,
No.
Clauser,
Yes.
Hauser,
No.
King,
Yes.
Salvia,
No.
Trent.
Yes.
Okay, we will have it on the next
So
agenda.
what direction do you want to give me? What do you want here for the next, do I have to bring the 911 coordinator here or invite her?
I think like the county commissioner talking to us possibly about it would be helpful. I think that would do it for me, frankly, as a representative of Oakland County. I don't know about the rest of you.
I think either hearing from somebody in a position of authority over this, I don't know who that person is, but somebody in authority over this contract, what their position is on the company directly, and then also the relationship with Clemmis. Those would be the two things
Thank you.
for me.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay.
Well, I just have a comment. I mean, it's fine. I mean, but it's every time we have any technology, we're gonna question where the data is. Is there some conspiracy? Is there some nefarious? I mean, you know, last time it was Amazon, now it's this. I mean, it's just, you know, it's fine, but.
I mean, I feel like that's just kind of the wave of technology. You know, the internet comes out and I'm sure there are people like, what is this and why? You know, so I do think it's pretty normal right now. Like I said, I feel like we're really on the cutting edge of some of this stuff. Again, it doesn't mean we're necessarily against it, but I think just ensuring we're being cautious and hearing out concerns is my thought. But I do,
We heard about it. I think
Yeah.
2 weeks is, I think that's a good compromise, personally.
yeah.
Well, that's how the vote was anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. Moving on to reports. Various boards and commissions, Sustainability Rochester, Maryland, Councilmember Trent.
Could I just say, I gave it last time, but I would love to.
Oh, no, well, let's skip it.
Again.
We want to see.
Have not everybody heard enough from me, or they want me to talk some more?
No, we're okay.
It's not
Okay.
usually a request.
I am going to do a quick Rochester Area Youth Assistance. So we met on April 28th, and some of the things we discussed at night, we were nominating for the board positions, which we will vote on in our next meeting. The RAYA office has been in Adams High School since, I think, Adams High School. Well, they have been telling us for many years they want that space. And so, and they've been generous in giving us the free space. So we are moving the RAYA office to RCS building over on DeQuinder. And they're gonna have windows in their office now for the first time, so it's a good win. So that's in the process of happening. We are going to be working Arts and Apples, we're working a gate as a fundraiser, it's a great fundraiser, this will be our third year. We had the Health and Wellness Fair, unfortunately, I was out of town, it was on May 2nd, and it was a grand success. We had a blood drive, a lot of people donated blood. A lot of people got vaccines. We had 300 people attend, so next year will be bigger and better. And there is a nonprofit fair at the public library on June 13th from 12 to 2. So a lot of the nonprofits in the area will be in there. I asked for this about 3 years ago. I think it's our third year, and it's a great way for them to get exposure. So that is June 13th, 12 to 2. And that is it. Planning Commission, I would assume Christian.
All right.
Councilmember Hauser.
Thank you. So we had a planning commission meeting on May 4th. There were a couple considerations that we listened to. One was at 326 Albertson. This is the Hellrow property over there. So the applicant came in with a very nice proposal to have kind of a spa, a wellness center, and we set that for public hearing. And then there was also consideration for 824 Miller Road. This is it's an existing natural gas regulator station, and that was also set for public hearing. Those are the only two issues that came up that evening. However, I will just a quick update on some of these subcommittees that the Planning Commission has been doing here over the past few months. So there's a couple subcommittees, actually there's three right now. There's one for design standards, one for process and procedure. Those are very much underway and already have been meeting. And then, in fact, this morning, Mayor Jones and I, along with Dan Bachman and Richard Kenzik, got together, and we had our second meeting to revise and update the Planning Commission bylaws. I would say we're probably about 80% done, and we've really made some forward progress on that. Our goal is to finish up the last week of May, and then presumably, if everything goes according to plan, we will bring the revised bylaws to the Planning Commission for the June meeting. And then, once those get a look at, I'll come back, or the next meeting in June, I'll update City Council. And I think we agreed that we'll provide copies of what those bylaws are. They don't have to come to City Council for approval, but we think that everyone should know what those bylaws are, the modifications to.
We feel that everybody will want to read them.
Everyone's going to want to read them twice. That's right. Yes.
So exciting.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's must read. So that's all I have for Planning Commission, if there's any questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Principal Shopping District, I believe that's
I think I'm
city
your new rep.
manager.
Nobody wants to be on
I think you are our liaison, yes.
It was pretty quick. So we had, we talked about sidewalk sales, dance on the streets, where they make a recommendation through the promotion committee that then they bring to City Council, which will be at the next meeting for those items to take place. The big thing for Dancing in the Streets was the second night, they're gonna have a band for 2 nights. So they're pretty excited about that. And sidewalk sales were the same. Staff, Christie gave DDA staffing update with both Jenna and Taylor gone, that we hired 2 new employees. It was her and I that interviewed 17 people over 2 days. And I think we're really gonna be happy with the quality of our candidates. One starts in about 2 weeks, one starts for a week, bless you. And then she had a planned trip to Paris, actually, as her graduation from college, and she'll start the week after that. So, and then we talked about probably the last year on Main Street, Oakland County Main Street event will be at the Roxy one more year. They love it there, but Mr. Wilhelm, who owns the Roxy, purchased the Berkeley Theater. He's putting an 880-seat event there, so the county used to like to move it around, but they really like the Roxy. It works out great. So I think this will probably be our last year, but it will be hosted here again this year, and they're excited about that.
I had that at some point. That's okay. I'll
Yeah,
check with Christie.
I don't know exactly. I should have wrote it down. But that was it.
What about opening day of the market?
They had, I think there were 2,000 people in line. They gave away the bags in something like 26 minutes or something. So they're very pleased. The weather was good. The vendors appreciated going back to the original area. They did not have to close Water Street because they didn't get the extra tenants or the other market folks yet. When the produce comes in, then they'll expand that. Remember, we agreed that we would let them use the road for that, so they didn't have to do it the first night. But, and Oakland County brought their parks, open house there to talk about our new park, and it was a great day.
Awesome, thank you. We had a Parking Management Advisory Board meeting.
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I have a question.
Also, when I graduated college, I did go to Paris, so for that, I don't know.
Wow. Must be a thing.
It was a few seasons ago, as they say. We talked about we had a robust parking meeting. It's now very high-tech oriented. Lot 5, which is over by the elevator, we talked about that. And administration thinks that's been successful. And so we talked about, or the committee talked about, the new lots going the direction of no meters, and you go in and you go to one place and you input data with your card and things like that. Is that?
So they're gonna test.
They're gonna test it. Masonic lot has, I think, 26 spaces, so we leased that lot, so we're gonna put 2 pay stations there that you can use Park Mobile, you can use your credit card, no coins, and test that out for 3 months free, and then we'll see if we wanna take that further.
And
It
so
would come to
there's-
council
And
for
they're
that.
starting to make their money now in transaction costs, so they're going to, give us the equipment for free, allegedly. Questions?
Yeah, that's fine. Councilman Murphy.
Yeah, just a quick question. With that, will we have the option to pay by mobile without going to the pay station?
I think
Or do
pay
you
by
have
mobile.
to use the pay
That will
station?
still
Yeah,
maintain.
the app will still be an
App will still
app.
be used. Yeah,
And no coins.
yeah, they're gonna try no
Okay.
coins.
So there's
Yeah.
3, it's exactly, there's 3 different ways, the new technology, so you can just say, here's my license plate, I'm in this lot, and it covers you, and then you can add on, it tells you if you're running out, or scan, or manual enter.
Okay. I've been in Grosse Pointe and they have pay station only for a lot.
Yeah, no.
And when it's pouring rain.
You don't wanna
and
go
there's
there.
a line, it's the worst.
Agree.
So we don't want to be in that.
Good input, actually.
Yeah.
Councilmember.
So what would be the cost to pull out all the meters? I mean, so we have to pay to pull the meters out, which we've paid out.
No,
Meters
we're on
will stay on-
salary,
they're
we're on
gonna stay on
salary,
Main
so
Street.
we would just, our guys would take them out if we ever had to, yeah.
What?
We're on salary, so it would be during the
No, I
work.
mean, you're pulling out the meters we paid $500,000 for the 10 years. I just
They're,
think
they're
it's.
only good for 3 years more, but yeah.
I'm just saying, we've paid, you don't need to.
Right, but I think,
I think if we could
It
share
would
the
ease
math
out,
with you.
ease out of them, yeah.
So the other thing is, so on the other lot next to Mosherry, when I was speaking about it, everybody agreed to put those, like, temporary,
Scan to pay.
scans in, and then you were gonna come back to council and give an update, was what my request and others were, to have an update of how well it's working. And when I go there, I have pictures, the lot's empty, so you're saying that it's working, but I'd still like to see the numbers of how that's working, because that was what my request was initially. And now I see that there's signs up, so there was a step, I feel like, that was missed, but that's okay. I understand.
No, the signs, that's been there for a week.
Originally, that was what you said, we'd give it 6 months, and they would
I
come back
remember
to
that,
council.
so I can check with David, so,
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
it's already done, so, I mean, it's already done, so that's good.
and this is,
You get it
Okay,
monthly.
so, I just need to understand how much it costs, we're gonna pull out those meters, and then you're gonna put this in, and I just need to have some more information about
I
how
think
this is
if
gonna
you,
work.
yeah, I just said, we will have them come and do an update. And it really makes sense when you look at the labor involved in those meters, and it's a smaller lot, so I think it's a good test.
and it's a pilot program.
It is.
And
It's pilot,
And we
right.
didn't decide, I mean, this will all come to council.
Right.
Right.
I just been here talking about parking, I don't know, I've been part of parking since 2010, I just have questions.
You would come to council.
And then we talked.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank
that-
you for your hard work, I really appreciate it.
Just so you know, there's just bags over the meters right now. No meters are being removed. This is truly just a test to see how it works out. Councilmember Hauser.
I will wait until Stuart's done, and I have a question about parking.
Okay.
Oh, you're not.
Well, it was a long meeting.
That was a hint.
But I'll be,
It was.
we talked about, having some marketing, have a website so when people come to town, they can see where they're supposed to park and stuff. That was an idea they came up with. We looked at a parking study for the lot that's behind like the Firestone. I mean, that's a controversial lot because it's full all the time and some
businesses use
Some
it.
businesses, monopolize, and there's a way to do that, so we're gonna, do a study on that. We looked at some of the time, should we limit it? Some of the areas near restaurants, should we have a 3-hour limit? So then people can come and go to the restaurants and stuff as opposed to employees park there all day. I mean, that was an issue that was brought up. The parking guy and, what's his name? David Custer and the police chief are going to a conference in Milwaukee in June to talk about more parking stuff. So that was the meeting. And then again, everything will come here for, obviously, discussion and decisions.
Councilmember Hauser.
Thank you. Mr. Bixson, has there been any discussion, or do you think there could be some discussion, and maybe this would be for city manager as well, about adding more charging stations to our public parking lots as we start to renovate and, and improve some of these lots? I think, what do we have, 2 out here, is that it?
They are always full.
So we have 2 in the city, is that right?
Yeah.
So we did not discuss that at all.
Yeah.
No.
Free?
Is that something that, not necessarily next meeting, Stuart, but like in the future, we'd say, hey, listen, if we're gonna repave one of these parking lots, or we're gonna do something, is there a way that we could maybe start to think about adding some more charging stations? Only because I was in Ann Arbor a couple weeks ago, and you were almost in the minority if you weren't at a charging station.
So if I may, so we have talked about that and the demand in this town because we don't have office buildings. When you have office buildings, you need them because they're there for quite a while, but on a retail-based community,
Really?
So literally, we did studies a couple of years ago, and the Royal Park took theirs out, actually. And so it's because we're not a long-term parking situation, the cost, and then you have, if there's nobody there, somebody's gonna get a ticket if they're there. So it has been discussed, but doesn't mean it can't be again.
Only because a
But-
resident asked me the
Yeah,
other
I'm
day
sure.
too. I thought,
Yeah.
with gas prices at, what they are, it might not be a
Well,
bad
and I
idea.
also don't know if people know of those other two. There is two over by Huntington Bank. And I don't think people know they're there.
No.
But
No,
the
they're
ones
used to,
here,
yeah.
and I feel like the ones that are here at the police, because I know, because Cole has an electric car, is that people just leave them there for 24 hours plugged in. And I don't know how you monitor that, but that's one of the bigger problems, frankly.
The chief.
You know?
Well, it's our car, one of them is our car, so we're charging our own,
Yeah,
so.
fine, the city is leaving their car there for 24 hours.
And
Councilmember Salvi.
I was just going to say a little historic perspective on electronic vehicles charging. One of the things we discussed last year on the parking committee was that we did not want them in parking structures for safety reasons. We do
Right.
not want something potentially
Valid
exploding,
point.
Right.
charging in our parking
They're
structure.
just the surface lots.
So
which is
surface
fine.
lots
Yeah.
only, but I do think it is something that should be,
Relooked
what
at.
I'm hearing is like,
Yeah.
we really need another council update on the overall parking system.
I
What's
just told, I
happening?
just told Nick that. I think we'll do one at a meeting that doesn't have a really full agenda.
And I think a telling, there was a company that came in front of where the Rochester Play is. Scott Ronan owns that, where Storm Capital is. So they came in on their own dime, they were gonna put $795,000 worth of all levels of charging stations to try to sell that to communities. They never put it in there because they said, this is the wrong place to do it because you don't have long-term parking here. So individual buildings, if they want to have their own, office buildings, we don't have very many. But again, the world changes, and if
worth
gas
looking at.
keeps doing this, it's
Yeah.
worth taking a look at, absolutely.
And Councilmember Hauser, this is not Ann Arbor.
I also, go blue. All right, thanks.
Okay, we're moving along to any other public comment. Please step up to the podium.
Just on this consideration on Scott Street, it's amazing how much information they already had and all the conversations they've had. And this is the first time it landed where any public would ever even know about it. And it landed just before Mother's Day, so everybody's kind of preoccupied. So today, yes, I did get the phone calls on this and a couple of other issues. And looking at this rendition, I assume the brick going down the center divides their property. I'm just making an assumption. And then I'm using the word driveway, and I'm hearing the word road. So, my question is this, I kind of understand a new residence moving in a brand-new, huge, big house, and there's a problem with a porch or patio area. Setbacks aren't met. If he gets the property, he can expand that, and he's got his setback without a problem, which keeps him in compliance. That pathway, okay, maybe not the best maintained, but it has been a connector, a path, an area of transition for people to walk and ride all these years. And it should probably maybe be maintained. Now, I did hear, get all your neighbors here in support of you because you don't want you want it to go through, because it'll take something away from the city. What we're talking about is just some maintenance. So if they've been sort of maintaining it, cutting grass, and I believe it's gravel, it has been gravel, and now I'm hearing, nope, no gravel's the ride, it is a road. So, for two garages, the clarification is it truly a road? Or was it the path and the pass-through and the walkway, the alley that it always was? And if it's a road, my question is this, what is the width of a road in our neighborhoods? Because it would have to meet that. Second of all, it has to have two-way traffic on it, even if it's two garages and it's gonna be a road. Next, do we have to have the gutters in, and what spacing is that? And then the easement. So when you add all that together, is he going to have the footage to do what he wants if we're doing it? I'll be honest with you. Next, between these two houses, because it was maintained all these years, for many, many years before all this buildup started, it takes us to some of the greenest places we have left in Rochester, with the least disruption from all the bikes, the runners, the noise. And that takes us to our maples, our community garden, to our mini forest. I'm concerned. You can say all you want, but what happens when it's blocked? And people love our alleys. They love their quirky little workway in the alleys, and I'll tell you why. It gets them away from the traffic and the cookie cutter sidewalks with the big houses, okay? It gives them something more interesting, and it also gives them a different surface. People like that. People don't want to be on that same stuff, and what I'm seeing now is just, there you go. We've got our paved runway. It's not the transition that it had been. And also then, I would ask you if we're setting a precedence, does that mean our other alleyways, if they gather and they've got money, can come to the city and buy it out? Is the city gonna jump because they don't have any maintenance or anything to worry about? And then all of a sudden, it's not a road. It's another driveway. And our alleyways, people enjoy walking in. They love that transition. They like getting something that's more quiet. I can't tell you how many people use it. And as far as, well, if it's a road, we can't have it, we gotta put a sidewalk in. Well, my next question is, why? There's 2 garages down there, and in our neighborhoods, I cannot tell you all the people that walk and run in the middle of our roads. You know that, you see it all the time. They're there all the time. Wesley, Castell, 4th, 3rd, Harris, they're all over. But they do use our road, and they use it safely. That's it. So that's all. So I'm glad that it wasn't pushed through tonight, because people really did not know about this at all. And I know, somebody says, oh, it's beautification. Well, beauty's always in the eye of the beholder. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Megan, anybody online?
We have no one online, thank you.
Thank you. All right. City Clerk, anything?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you to Marcy and everyone up front who was helping cover while I was out. And especially thanks to Megan for keeping everyone, keeping the department afloat. And I believe Megan also has an update for the events upcoming at Mount Avon.
Okay. Just kick to Megan. Go ahead, Megan. Do you have an update?
Yes, we have several meaningful events taking place at Mount Avon over the next few weeks. First one's going to be tomorrow at 11 a.m. You have the Oakland University School of Medicine holding a brief ceremony to earn its first donor and receiving vault. And the second event is the America 250 Patriots dedication ceremony on Saturday, May 16th at 3 o'clock. And that ceremony will recognize and honor the Revolutionary War soldiers buried at Mount Avon Cemetery. And of course, we have the annual Memorial Day ceremony, which will begin at 9 a.m. We have individuals who have agreed to share their time and talents as part of the program. And then the Memorial Day parade will immediately follow.
Thank you. City Manager.
Just a quick one. I know a couple of you reached out to me, and I was a little bit ahead of you this time. So as soon as the water thing hit, I reached out to Chris Barnett and Mayor Barnett and Tom Tangi just to let them know if there's anything we could do. Anthony actually called right away and said, when it happened for Fraser, we even said we put hoses out at the fire department so people could fill up their jugs with, city water. So we reached out, and they all said, thank you very much, acknowledged that. I said, my electeds said, reach out quickly, so we did. But they're good to go. So far, so good. It's a big project, and hopefully they don't have to shut down totally. But a lot of the businesses were precautionary shut down Orion Township because of trying not to drain that tower down. But today, most of the businesses were open on a limited basis. So, but we reached out, and they said thank you for the offer. So that's it.
Thank you. City Attorney.
Nothing, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I saw Starbucks was closed, and I thought that would probably cause chaos. Yeah, chaos in the streets.
A rebellion.
Just real quickly, we had, on my side of town, they had a number of water main breaks, and it tore up the road, and the other day, a whole crew came out and fixed them all and did a really good job. So thank you to the DPW for that. That's it.
Is he the star again today?
Yeah, he's the star. He was the star on Terry Street.
There we go.
Yeah, I just want to do a thank you to the spring cleaning maintenance crew that started at 10 a.m. at the Mount Avon Mausoleum Garden. And we had myself and Tammy Byers from the City Beautiful Commission and Carrie Marvin from Master Gardeners helped me do that. And then on to the mini forest. And we had Janine Offer-Krupp and Tracy Goshik from City Beautiful Commission, Allison Balderin, and myself and Sarah and, Shirley and Brad Roth. And we had a huge pile that we got of dandelions that were the biggest dandelions I've ever seen. Obviously, the composting leaf mulch works very well. And, yeah, I really want to thank all of those. We left little gifts for Colin Pettit from the DPW, and he got 2 bags from the mausoleum, and then a big pile of leaf mulch, weeds from both the Dinosaur Hill Garden, or the Pollinator Garden, and the mini forest. The other thing is, I want to thank Councilman Hauser and Councilwoman Salvia and Janine Kropp and myself for speaking to, thank you, Marilyn, for speaking to the Michigan Municipal League, to Emily Penniswan. She is the content writer and marketing communications director of the Michigan Municipal League, and I applied for the Community Excellence Award, and they want for the mini forest, and it was a wonderful interview, and I want to thank you both for doing such a great job talking with Emily, and she really liked our idea. So fingers crossed, if we win this, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal at the annual conference, and there's over 400 statewide council members, mayors, and others who come to that conference. So fingers crossed. Councilmember Hauser.
Sure, thank you. And we've said it before, and I'm going to say it again, the work that you did on that mini forest, it's unbelievable. And we are where we are because of what you did. So I appreciate that. I'm sorry. So a couple things. Speaking of Michigan Municipal League, I think we all get the emails. If we don't, or if you don't, let me know. But you've heard these House Bills 5529 and 5532 and a couple others. There's emails that are sent out, and you can sign almost like a form letter.
Just go,
opposing these House bills. Are coming up for debate this week. So please, if you have a minute, just sign your name and send it in. If you want me to send you the email, I'll be happy to do that. 2, I sent a note to Nick and the police chief today. I went through the speed report, and some of these cars on Ludlow are flying. Okay, now I understand one of them might have been a fire truck or police truck because of a fire, but summer's coming, the trail's gonna open, those baseball diamonds are getting used, the construction at Solaronics is gonna start. I'm wondering if there's anything that the city can do. Can we put some of those temporary signs out there possibly?
We put up the big board.
Right.
We can do that.
I would appreciate that, and I'm certain some of the residents would as well. And then finally, Nick, I told you I'd never ambush you at a meeting, but I want to let you know, the next thing on my list here is looking at our sign ordinance, and looking at how we can maybe either update it and get some changes here so it's more easy to understand, both from an aesthetic, but also a size and in-your-face type deal. So that's all I've got.
Councilmember Salvi.
I wonder what's driving that. Okay. I just wanted to thank the CERT volunteers that were out helping with the water emergency. I do remember when it was our turn in the barrel and we didn't have water, and it's not pleasant. So we hope they get through that quickly. Councilmember Clauser and I started some discussion today regarding a potential health and wellness commission. And so I think she's going to talk a little bit more about details. We're just exploring some ideas of something potential for the future.
Councilmember King.
I don't know that I brought this up at the last council meeting, but I think DPW or worked with RAH to update the baseball fields. They look great. Nick Schaefer, star of the show. But it looks really good. So I've seen a lot of kids out there. They're full. They're used all the time. So it's great to see those updates. They needed it. Also, Jason Werner couldn't be here tonight. So he asked us to talk about the park. We are getting very close to a plan. This is the Kiwanis Playground? Kiwanis Playground by the police station. I think everybody should have gotten a printout. If you don't,
I don't have one.
Here, you can have mine.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe Jessica and I just got them, but there's a printout. You guys can pass them down.
Yeah, pass them around.
Just to let you guys have an idea, this is within the $350,000 earmarked budget. I think comes in at like $349,000 and some.
99
Spend every
cents.
penny, spend it all. So unfortunately, we did have to eliminate two key pieces from
later.
the playground to stay within the budget. We would likely come back to you at a later date to ask for those, but we're trying to.
Tonight, since we just approved.
Yeah, so the plan was 374,000 when they put it together.
okay.
There are two really cool pieces, I have them on my iPad here that I'll pass down too, so you can see. It's this little like swing that comes out that extends off of one of the towers and then this rock wall. I think they would complete the playground nicely. So we may come back at a later date to ask for those, but we're trying to meet a deadline of the end of June to, so you would see a formal request, I think, at our next council meeting. This is not a formal request, just giving you an update. You'd see a formal request at the next council meeting, to meet the end of May, beginning of June deadline, right?
Yeah.
I think it's beginning of June. They have a price increase coming.
Yeah.
And so we'd like to get the order in. But one of our, so the price would go up $7,000 if we don't meet that timing, based on the $349,000 estimate. The only issue is, we had really hoped to be able to, we've created a survey, and we were planning to post it for the community, and we wanted to get input. We could post it for about a week, but then we'd get input, and we wouldn't really have the opportunity to incorporate it. So we're kind of at a dilemma, because we want to stay within budget, and we don't really have room to cut something more from the plan. So I guess, just if anybody has feedback on what they, path forward, preference.
I trust the two of you.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's never going to be any better than what the two of you
we're
do.
the-
I met with Jason to talk about it this morning, and he looked back. The first discussion that was tabled to go to a committee was December. It is now May. So don't think for 1 second, they have not put a ton of time in making this
Well, there
an
have been, I think,
amazing
like
playground.
I think we've talked to like
I've
8 different
so-
playground companies, maybe 7.
So
But
put so much
There's a lot of
energy, and Jason is running the show, and so many different companies, and so many different layouts. It will be stellar. Yeah.
So what's the question? Is it, you want the approval to move forward, or?
She's
Well,
just
we're
giving
gonna
it
come- we're gonna
update.
come with
Okay,
a
it looks
formal
wonderful.
request.
I
We
love it.
We'd hope to post it to get more feedback, but we're.
You guys, you really did a fabulous job, and I love this latest rendition. I mean, it did, over 5 months, it improved, and it's
Did you see
beautiful.
the pieces that we want to add?
Absolutely.
Yes, you did.
For the future.
We did,
Those are really good pieces.
I would love to play there at this point, and I'm not a child.
We'll sell
Okay.
some milkweed plants around.
According to the score we just saw, we don't need to rush home to see the Pistons, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should see what we can
Councilmember
come up with when there's no budget.
Yeah.
Really
Sky's
good
the limit,
ideas.
right?
Yeah. My two things are just to, I'm really excited about the conversations with Councilman Salvia. We've been having around the potential of the creation of the Health and Wellness Commission. I think just to give a little bit more detail, we see a real opportunity in really furthering or strengthening Rochester's quality of life by creating a more intentional focus around health and keeping that at the forefront of all of our policies and decisions. I think we've talked about, without going into all of our fantastic ideas, but focusing around community wellness, so some education, outreach, prevention, access to resources, partnering with local organizations, healthy living initiatives and rewards programs, maybe with employees and with the city, transportation, walkability, connecting to sustainability, and the committee Maryland just started. So we have a lot of ideas, and it's really exciting. I think we're in early stages, and I think we both look forward to bringing a more developed framework and recommendations back to council in the future, and then super excited about the playground, and you did a great job presenting on it, and that's what I got.
Okay, I'm just gonna roll with the very end of all this. If you walked over by the community garden, you saw the skate park, and it is.
It's happening.
It's happening. Concrete started. It is looking so good, so I'm super excited. I've been talking to Rara about the concession stand and the importance of having that open once the skate park's open, because they're gonna really get a lot of business for that. And so they had some requests on, well, if we really wanna do this, we need 2 sinks and we need, so we can talk about that. They do need a few things in there, and I think that it'll be a good addition to, so I'm excited about that. And then, I went today to the, anatomy memorial ceremony at Oakland University, based on who was here before, about body donation, and it was incredibly moving, and it was for the graduating class, but also OU received their first 2 local donated bodies, so it was a big deal for them, because they're trying to build that. And so Mr. Pixley was there, and he was honored because the building in the park, now they will, tomorrow morning, put the ashes of those 2 people will be going in, and they'll have a ceremony in the cemetery for that. So I just, a little PR for them to think about body donation. You have to do it, obviously, your family cannot do it post-death. It's something you'd have to decide, so. It was wonderful. I mean, it's full of medical students, and it was really energizing, so that's it for me, yes?
Just a comment on, actually, the last thing you said about the concession stands and the bathrooms and the approvals there. We got a really thoughtful email, I think, we were all copied on it, from a resident, Karen Setter, and I think she had great ideas about including hooks, and also, what was the other thing that she, the more modern occupied, so I don't know if City Mission got that, or we can include it, but I thought it was really good.
Like on the back of the
Oh, good,
doors,
okay,
hooks
good,
for purse or
good,
whatever.
you just thought.
Thank you for
We
remembering
can't
that.
copy each other, so.
Thanks for remembering that.
So Jason probably got 8 copies, 6, 7, how many are?
Yeah, I saw him at the donut shop
Yep.
on Saturday.
10, 14.
That's why I didn't come tonight.
Yeah.
It's like
Leave me alone, all of you.
I hit delayed send on mine, so he did.